Cheers, queers. What's on the big gay agenda today, Theora?
Today, we are going to talk about a super special, super fun, super gay television series called Whale Store. XOXO. Woo!
Woo! It's super.
It is. So, today we're going to be doing a overview episode about why we love this series and include some listener comments. So, thank you in advance to everybody that participated and answered the call of why did you love Whale Store? We will include your comments in this discussion as well. So, this will not be a scene by scene breakdown. This will just be an overview episode, just highlighting what we liked and what we wanted to talk about from the show and what our listeners wanted to talk about as well. So this would be similar to we did this about the Loyal Pin and Affair and so many other series. So that's what you're in store for today.
Ooh,
If you're
get
looking for,
excited.
sorry,
I just told him to get excited.
yeah, get excited. If you're looking for extra Whale Store content, we did react to the entire series, so you can watch select first reactions on YouTube. And the entirety of it, unedited, no blue boxes, nothing, is on our Patreon. So for $5 a month, you can watch Whale Store along with us and relive all the magic.
And boy, was it magical. Can't wait
It
to get into
was.
all of that.
Yeah, good times. All right, so shall we dive into it?
Let's do it.
All right. Let's start with one of my favorite things about Whale Store, which is it does not center rich people. Like for once, we don't have a main character or like an obsession about royalty, wealthy women fighting over business. We don't have an obscenely wealthy woman with an obscenely not wealthy woman. You can argue that Meownam is wealthy, but her wealth does not actually play into the story at all, and it's not centered around her wealth. Actually, she's breaking out of that. So like I love that because this was a story that really centered everyday people just like living their lives. So I would imagine for the vast majority of people, period, on earth and people watching this was a relatable story because at least for me, I can see myself in these characters because our life experiences have more similarities than they do differences. Like, I don't know what it's like to have to carry on the royal name and, like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't personally relate to that, but like, struggling to pay bills, yeah, family drama, sure. Like, it was a relatable story.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. There's so many shows we have where there's money's plays a big role in a big plot point in tearing people apart too. But again, like you said, this one is relatable because just like Wan is trying to figure out what she wants to do, whether to run the store or go back to her career, like trying to figure out your life's trajectory. That stuff is scary. It's a lot and it's very relatable. And it was great to see that in this show and trying to navigate life in a community as well.
And in a capitalist system, which is what we're all dealing with. So like,
Yes.
yeah, it was super relatable. It was real life. So I enjoyed that about this story. It's very rare. I haven't seen a lot of television shows like this because like media and stories are, they're escapism. So a lot of it is like, what if you were a billionaire? You know what I mean? So it like glamorizes a lot of things that really are not relatable to a lot of people. But this was just like, what's life look like in this little village kind of thing, and how do they get by and survive? And so I enjoyed that element. um okay, and then the reason we're all here, second thing I loved about it is it was really gay, like super gay. Like there
Super
were so
gay.
many queer couples that were just excellent and top tier. And we have to start at the very top, which is Meownam and Wan. So let's get into them.
Who are the cutest things ever. They're just the most adorable. Even the way they just look at each other. It's just we could watch them look at each other for a whole episode, but we didn't because we got a lot of plot, which was great too. But let's get into Meow Nam and Wan.
Yeah, I like that the fact that they had a healthy relationship the whole time that was just built on a foundation of helping each other. Like that was it. There was no like deception. There was no like secrets really. I mean, there was the secret about the mouse mart thing, but like we dealt with that because it's not like Meownam was like I'm never gonna tell her. She was like, I don't know how to tell her, which is like real life. Like sometimes news is hard to deliver, and you're like, I don't know how to do this, and I'm afraid of the consequences. And it was just real life scenarios. And so I like that, like that was basically their relationship was like, how do we help each other? That
Yeah,
was
I mean,
it.
technically, there was the secret of the money because she wasn't being truthful there, but just because she cared and was trying to help her and knew that Juan would not take that money if she knew what it was actually supposed to be for.
Yeah, but like Myeonam wasn't lying when she was like, "No, it's my savings money." Like it was her
Yeah,
money, but
it
then
is
her mom's
savings,
like,
yeah.
"That was meant for her PhD," and she's like, "But I don't want my PhD. Like it is my money." But yeah, she didn't tell her the history of the PhD and the stuff with her mom. Because I feel like her mom was a sore spot because of the mouse smart stuff, and also Meownam like needed time to process the mom stuff. So like, I don't know.
It's
Anyway,
fair.
let's just go back to them having a healthy relationship. So like, one thing I love is in episode 1 when they first meet again as adults basically, and first of all, the opening of the show is amazing when like Juan is driving to like her dad's store and like the radio is basically talking about these break-ins in the neighborhood. And they're like, yeah, they come at night and they go by the day on holy days and all this stuff. And she turns that off and then here's somebody rummaging in front of her house. Like, so she's like, crap, I'm going to get burgled. So I love the sequence. Like, it was very clever. And then she finds this little girl, like this little woman, like just like trying to like get a cat, which is hilarious. And so in the process, Meownam like dislodges something on like the cooler, and so she goes to fix it for her later as like a way to be like, no, I'm just the handy woman of the area. It's okay. Let me help you. And then later, I think in that same episode, her sign falls off, and Myeonam's like, crap, I just give up on this, blah, blah, blah. And then Wan's like, I'll fix it for you. And she does the duct tape, which was objectively hilarious. But it's like from the beginning, from episode 1, they both have that like, I'm looking out for you kind of thing. So they like very consistently support each other and build each other up, especially when they're feeling down, because both characters in those moments were like at low points where Juan's like, what am I doing with the store? And then here's Meownam who comes to quote fix things. So the same thing with Meownam. She's like, what am I doing? Like, I should just give up on this. And then Juan's like, I'll help you. I believe in you. Here's some duct tape, which is funny, hilarious.
I just again, just with the duct tape scene in general, I love that Meownam, it just forgets that she fixes things for a living, so Wan's the one who fixes it for her. I again, the duct tape itself is just
It
hilarious,
was hilarious. But
but
yeah, it's more so you're right. It is funny because like she is the handy woman, but like it's a reflection of her emotional state in that moment, which is
yeah.
that she was depressed and giving up, actively giving up on that. And the one's like, no, what are you doing? That's fixable. And that's kind of like a theme over and over again is that like life isn't always pure happiness constantly. Like it's a roller coaster, it's ups and downs. And they make many references to weather where they're like, oh, it's just like rain goes away eventually. And then you have flowers and stuff. Like good comes of like the bad, like there will be good again, basically. And that's kind of like reiterated with those scenes that like when one character is like, oh, and that life will never be happy again. The other one shows up and they're like, no, 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 look, like it's fixable. It'll be fine. Like we'll move on. And I like that about them because they're very natural in that aspect. Like, and I think that like they don't consciously realize that's what the other person is doing for them. Like in the beginning, Juan keeps doing these things like where she tells me on she's awesome and like just is being honest with her, but like these like naturally supportive things that she's doing end up having a huge impact on Meownam and she doesn't realize it. Hence, like, you were nice to me when I was a child, which is another like classic girl love theme. Like, you were nice to
Yes.
me once and I never forgot it, kind of thing. Which we can't escape that ever, it seems.
No,
No.
but sorry, it's just first of all, to I don't do you have a moment where when you were younger where, like, that stuck with me forever?
I mean, yeah, I have moments like that, but like I didn't marry that person. I
That's
didn't know
true.
my wife when I was a child.
So, just that's why there are usually disclaimers in the beginning. Don't
This
expect
is
this
not
to
real
happen to
life.
you.
Yeah. But yeah, with Meownam and Wan, I love like the progression of their relationship. The entire series felt very natural, like nothing felt forced. It wasn't like outside forces were really like forcing them into proximity together. It was like they naturally gravitated to each other and then they like worked on their relationship together. There's a lot of communicating. Like it was just a really good depiction of a adult relationship with two mature adults, not like a child in an adult's body, you know, like they were both
Yeah,
emotionally very mature and things like that.
I think just along the lines of you pointed out the communication, communication played a big part in the show in general, but like these two were definitely the best at it because uh they were able to talk about things and that's what made the relationship stronger because you go to episode 5 when Monmouth tells Meownam that she's more than just a friend to Wan, and Meownam immediately goes to Wan instead of, like, overthinking it and says, "I didn't wanna overthink, so I came to ask you what the truth is." And I just when I heard that, I was just like, "Wow, that's amazing," because so many people would have just spiraled, especially, like, we've
Mhm.
seen that in Thai Girl Loves, like, someone that gets in the way, gets in someone's head, and then they're both crying, they're separated for, like, 5 episodes, and no, that's not really 5, but sometimes it's exaggerated like that. But here she's just like, "Let's talk about it because I don't want this to become a thing where I'm spiraling and it's not as bad as what I'm thinking in my head." And then even once Juan tells her, Mianam's like, "Okay, well, we just have the thing about Mouse Store. You ask me now whatever you want so we can just talk about it." And that's it was just great to watch them work through it because we don't get that as much in other Thai girl love shows or shows in general. We
No,
don't
just
get to
in
see
general.
yeah.
And just in general, not a
We're
genre
just
thing.
we're focused on Thai girl love. That's why my brain went there. But no, just shows in general. We do not see couples really work through the issues in the relationships. There's always something that are like, "Okay, we're fine now." But this was really them working through it and just getting to the root of like why the other person's upset, like being like, I didn't mean to deceive you. This is what's going on and why I behaved the way I did, and actually actively working on it in the future. Because these two like really do have conversations about hard things that other characters would have suppressed and just been like secretive about. And then like again later, the whistle scene, um like, that's even resolved. I mean, they don't talk for a little while, but Meow like, sending, no, I don't know how to say the name,
No, yeah.
Noey, to talk to Wan for her. But eventually they do talk, and it was resolved in 1 episode just because they do end up talking. And I really like that aspect, so we don't have drama just from miscommunication.
Yeah, it wasn't even that though. Like, it's just, it's not that that was a miscommunication like thing. It was like Juan was upset and then needed to process her feelings. Like sometimes you do need time apart to do that. And that's kind of like she's like, I need space. Like that's normal. It's I don't
Yeah.
know. But I agree. They do a good job of depicting the process of having a relationship, not just the lead up, which is the romantic part of like will they, won't they, and then everything's like happily ever after, like the story ends. Like I appreciate the fact that they depicted people having a relationship and building one because that is a conversation that's not happened because it's not as dramatic to your point as like the chasing, the will they won't they part and then like, but anyway, so I like that about them. But despite that, they did have really cute moments. Like one of my favorite things is they had one of the most natural "oops, our hands are touching" moments, which is in episode 2 when they're outside Wan's store and they're petting Psalm and then their hands touch and they're like, oh, oh. And it was just so natural. And it wasn't like, I fell on top of you, like kind of like dramatic, like kind
Yeah.
of thing that we see in a lot of Thai girl loves. This was just very like, it, like they didn't really bring attention to it at first. It just kind of like happened. Cause like, if you're gonna oops our hands touch, like it's oops, like it is accidental. It's not this like forced thing. So I love that. It was very, very good. So they did have cute little flirty moments like that mixed into them, like communicating and building a relationship. Yeah. Other thing I love is that they still had that like messy element where like Juan is basically like Unksa 30 like 20 years later, where their first kiss was such a hot mess. And like I love it because it's hilarious. So like the build up to this was like the street vendors, like the community are like, let's go to Juan and like we'll bring her food and let's make up and become a found family. And then they come over and Juan's like, I don't want to be up late. So she pretends to be drunk to get the shop owners to leave. And she's just like, we're in her head while she's like, quote, passed out on the table. And she's like, surely they're going to leave soon. And then Meownam shows up and they're like, Meownam, you take care of her. And Juan's like, crap, what do I do now? I'm pretending to be drunk. And so Meownam takes her upstairs. Meownam, who's like 50 pounds soaking wet, takes Juan upstairs somehow, who is, quote, passed out. And then I love that like Wan is in the bed eventually, and Miana's just like lingering, and Wan's just like debating. She's like, "Do I wake up? Do I tell her I'm kidding? Like, what do I do?" Because like this is a stupid scenario. I like that the character is aware that this is a stupid scenario, and she's just like, "How do I get out of this stupid scenario?" And that's when Meownam tells her, she's like, "Oh, I like you, Wan." And then so Wan wakes up immediately, doesn't explain anything, kisses Meownam, panics, then pretends to be drunk again and passes out. Like the sequence of all those events are just objectively hilarious when you put them all together. Brilliant.
I have to say, like, I do agree with her. Like, she was in a situation where like, you're like, really, what the heck does she do?
What do
Because
you
I
do? She's
wouldn't
like, what
even
do I
know what
do
to
now?
tell her what to do.
What do I
But
just yawn
this
too
was
long?
not it. This is not what she
No, this is not it.
because decided to wake up. You could have decided to wake up at any point, but that was the worst time to wake up. Anyway, like I know that Juan is confused about her own feelings, and like that's why she panicked and pretend. Okay, she didn't just fall back asleep. She
No,
said,
I know.
"I'm drunk," and then fell back
Yes,
asleep.
which is
Okay, so
ridiculous.
that's what made it even worse.
It was ridiculous.
I highly doubt a drunk person would say, "I'm drunk" as they fall back asleep. Anyway,
What a mess.
I know she's confused about her own feelings, but it's kind of messed up for Meownam because, like, Meownam just admitted that she liked Juan, and now Juan goes and kisses her and gets Meownam's hopes up, and then just, like, immediately crushes it because she's like, "Oh shit, she was just drunk. She's not even gonna remember this." So it's just it's playing with her feelings, and it makes me feel sad for her, but oh, Angsa. That's all I gotta say.
No, that was an awesome move, and I think Meownam was like, none of that made any fucking sense. Like, the thing is she sees through it, she's like, "This doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense." I think she's scared, and, like, she's right, because Meownam is a very patient character. But overall, I like the fact that they, with this relationship in particular, did balance comedy and cuteness with the drama of just real life. So again, like the story felt very grounded and I enjoyed that a lot.
Um, Something else that I really liked was the random use of security cameras and how it, like, evolved in their relationship.
Yes.
Because it starts in episode 3 where Myeongnam's helping Won set these security cameras up because she's getting money stolen. Because she leaves it on her table out
Yeah.
in the open, that's
Not
another
smart.
issue in itself, but
Yep.
this is why the security cameras are going up. And Myeongnam's like, "Okay, I need to tell her I like her, but I need to see if she likes me too." So, she, like, looks in the camera that Juan is looking at the feed on the tablet, and she's, like, making heart hands, pointing to Wan in the camera, and then being pointing to her in real life, and then pointing to, like, heart hands to herself. And I'm like, "Girl, see, like, a person who could, like, think it through would get it, but, like, it's Wan."
That's not what you're dealing with.
Yeah, they're not she's not gonna get it, but it was very cute to watch.
It was super, super cute. But you're right, they keep using those CCTV cameras throughout the entire show, because then Juan then uses the security cameras in episode 5 to ask out Meownam, where she, like, calls her back and she's like, "Hey, something's wrong with the camera." And then, like, Meownam looks through the feed and basically Juan has the sign that's like, "Oh, you got your full marks," which was the deal. She's like, "You gotta ace my test to date me," kind of thing. And she's basically like, "You date me now." And so she shows her this video on the CCTV camera, and then it's and then I love that Juan takes the time to create like a degree, like a college degree, and she calls it what does she call it? Like it's from like her store's faculty of business administration. It's like a certificate of awesomeness. So she got her degree in awesomeness from Juan, which was objectively really funny and cute because like that word means a lot to Meownam, and I'll get into that later. But it was really cute that she like did the security footage, then she like prints her this degree basically, and then she's like, "Okay, what do you think, Meow Nam? Can we date now?" And Meow Nam just like silently goes in the back room and then basically says yes on the cooler by like writing in the fog. And so Juana's seeing that on the CCTV footage. So I like that they kept using that as like their flirting mechanism throughout the show. It wasn't just that like one episode and that as she was like setting it up kind of thing. It was really cute.
Forgive me, I don't fully remember, but did they ever have a conversation about I don't think they did about, um, Meow Now telling her through the security camera? Because, like, I'm wondering if Juan thought about it previously, and that's why she never mind. I got it.
Want to share with the class? We're not in your head.
Um, I mixed up where the CCTV footage came in. It was Meow Nam the whole time. Meow Nam was the mastermind behind the
Yeah.
cameras. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, I it was just very sweet that it wasn't just the one episode. They're like, let's keep this not gimmick going, but like this
Let's keep using
use
this.
of yeah.
Yeah, it was super,
So it was
super
really
cute.
sweet to see the progression because it goes from I don't know if she likes me to being like, yes, I can confirm this relationship.
Yes, and now it's all on film so they can keep it.
Yeah, that's great.
It's great. All right. Other thing I love is in episode 5, they had their classic 72-hour date, which was adorable. And it's the first time Meownam spends the night. And I love a lot of stuff about this particular like sequence of events, but what I love is that like they have like a typical we're getting to know each other date. Like they set it up to be like, yeah, sexy time, but they're playing Uno. And then they like watch TV and then they just end the night kind of like passed out with the cat. And it's like that's what like the beginning of most relationships are like. It's just like they spent this time to get to know each other, and like that's why they have such a solid relationship. It's not built on just like oh like pure acting on emotions. Like they sat there and they like went through old photos and they just talked about things and like really got to know each other better. So I like that they showed that on screen because often that's like off screen stuff in a lot of TV series that are built on relationships, which I really love. Um, and then fun fact, the end of that night when they're like cuddled in the bed, apparently the cat peed on them when they were filming it. like
My favorite fact from this
which
whole
sucks
show.
so bad. And like I think it was Love who's like, I just felt all this wetness and I was like, what is happening? And I realized the cat was peeing on us and they couldn't move. that sucks so bad.
Yeah,
Being
I
an
think they were,
actor,
like,
man.
wondering why the cat was being so still, and then it was
was
just
it was
wetness,
peeing. oh man.
which sucks so bad.
I mean, filming with a cat must suck because cats gotta just do whatever they want.
I mean, some are pretty trained, like, there's animal trainers in general for I don't know about Thailand, but
I don't know. That cat looked nervous in a lot of the shots.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that cat didn't fully wanna be there.
No.
It looks like at least.
But anything else about Wan and Meownam's relationship before we move on to another
Well,
relationship?
I just wanna say that I love the sequence up to playing Uno because it was Juan's like, fingers just, like, crawling up the bed, and you were like, "Oh, are they going
Right.
to be intimate
It's
or
sexy
something?"
times. Yeah.
And then it's just like, "Uno."
Yeah. It was
I love that.
again, I love it. That's so real.
I also just love that they built each other up the entire time, like, even the last episode where Juan's like, "I'm actually gonna go to Japan and work." Again, that was so random, especially for the last episode and just came out of nowhere since they were working on the store so much. But Meow Nam was just like, "Well, I miss having you next to me every single day. But if that's what you need for your career, I'm gonna be supportive." And I just they never try to tear each other down. I mean, like, again, you said they're always, like, helping. Their relationships built on helping each other, but just, like, personally as well. And I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It's a green flag relationship. Truly.
Mhm.
All right. Now let's move on to what arguably is my favorite
Mhm.
couple is the side bitches. So we have Tonam and Chompoo, aka Pinky, which they're like the comic relief, but also had a really amazing plot line with crazy character growth, and I loved their story immensely. And one of my favorite things about them is I like that we have the two main couples. Okay, so we have Wan and Meownam, and we with them we get the will they won't they stuff, and then they do, and then they have the early relationship kind of drama. With these two, they are 3 years into their relationship, so when the show starts, so I love that they're an established relationship, so they're not in the falling in love phase. They've been dating for years. Okay, so they're working through like normal relationship stuff, like after the romance stuff has like faded into the background, after the passion is like not as prevalent, right? And then, but we see them when we first meet them in episode one, they're like hot messes, and they're like hiding their relationship, but not. And they get outed in the first episode. And my question is, how the hell did they hide their relationship for 3 years? Like, how did they hide their relationship in the beginning when they were in that like passionate, like, I can't get enough of you phase? Because they're kind of in that phase now, too. And I'm just like, how? You guys are not subtle.
I mean, we see that they tried to bicker, I guess, like, make up bickering stuff the entire time, but,
Yeah.
like, the
But
beginning of the show is literally multiple people finding out about this
that they're dating.
relationship, so, like, your question still stands, like, I don't know how the hell they made it 3 how did they make it? Your question stands, Theor, because, like, these 2 are
Seriously.
hopeless
If you have
hiding
any
it.
thoughts, leave it in the comments. Like, how the hell did they hide this relationship for 3 years? And I know that they purposely picked fights with each other when they were in front of other people, like Tick. So at the end, she's like, "That's why you guys are always fighting." So for like 3 years, they would just enter rooms and start fighting over nothing. So to throw people off and be like, "Oh, they hate each other," but they're not like careful or subtle. So I'm just like, "Really,
They are
guys?
not.
They are not."
Like, they don't even realize when people are there sometimes.
They're hilarious though, I fucking love them. Everything about
I
them is
do.
amazing, and they have such a
I
great
love them.
arc, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but, like, overall, they are the best.
Yeah. Um, there is a moment, and, like, this is part of that arc, I believe, that we're gonna be talking about, but I wanted to bring it up here. Just like in episode 7, where Tonnam blurts out that Chompoo might not even like men when her mother is, like, talking bad about her. I love that when Tonnam told her, Shampoo didn't get upset with her. And, like, she actually just started comforting her right away and told her that it's okay. Like, she could have been, like, so upset, be like, "Oh, you just outed me to my mother, like, how could you?" but she was mature to recognize that Tonnam did this out of love for her, and, like, again, you could also, like, clearly see that Tonnam is beating herself up about it, like, she was obsessed, crying in tears, and Chompoo actually tells her that she's grateful that she stood up for her when she didn't stand up for Tonnam herself. And I love that recognition and self-awareness of herself because, like, she knew, like, that whole time that she was the one keeping their relationship hidden, and we'll talk more about that whole dynamic. Um, but, like, that was really their turning point in the relationship where Chompoo is like, "Screw it, this girl's my everything, I need her in my life." And those 2, like, we see conversations between them. They really do know each other. They do see what they're doing, like, there or other things going on with Champoo and, like, not wanting to tell her mother, but she I love how she recognized she called Tana and was like, "Are you home?" Or like, "What are you doing?" And Tana's like, "Yeah, I'm home." She's sitting in her car outside, and Champoo comes is like, "I knew you wouldn't move because when you're sad, you don't wanna do anything." And it just made me happy to see that she is aware of Tannum's feelings as well, just not wrapped up in her own thing. And that's something that's throughout the whole show too. Is like people are more aware of everyone else, not just their own feelings. Or if they weren't, they figure it out and start learning pretty quickly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, no, overall, they're probably the best one of the best side couples, period, ever in a Tiger Love. They got a lot of story. It wasn't just like they're there to prop up Wan and Meownam's relationship. Um, Other thing I liked about them is that the way we get introduced to them is they're basically their colleagues with Meownam, so they work together at the university where they teach at. And I like that in the story it was they stayed Meownam's friend because like that's realistic. Like they didn't really get sucked into the couple drama. They were there to support Meownam and all the stuff Meownam was going through. So I like that they kind of had that separation of friends because like that's real life too. That like you kind of have even when you're a couple, it doesn't necessarily mean like all the friends mingle. Like sometimes you have your own separate friends. And so I like that in general,
Mhm.
both characters, the main characters kind of had that going on. Like Juan had like Noey and like uh, Manmook is like Monmook is kind of like the exception because she ends up in both worlds, like through the university
Yeah.
and then like Juan's past. But I did like that about this couple. They were like primarily Yanam's confidants. And I'll get into some of the misguided shit later, but they're hilarious. Okay, other thing we need to talk about is what I wasn't expecting. And if you watched our reaction video to like episode 9, you'll love this. The side bitches that showed up, which is Noe and Monmook. Because what the fuck, GMMTV? We were robbed by this. They just put that possibility in the penultimate episode and then like, what the fuck? Because in my mind, those two were into each other the whole time. Like from university till now. Like Juan was like in the way. It was like
Yeah.
those two were into each other because there's evidence littered everywhere that these two were actually into each other. It just like we were robbed, is what I'm saying. So if you go back to like
That's
episode 5 when Meownam and Juan are on their 72-hour date and they're going through the photos, there is a photo that she shares with Juan in the middle, Monmok on the left, and then Noe on the right. And that's like, are they looking at Juan? They looking at each other? I don't know. What's this photo doing here at GMMTV? What the hell, man? And then in episode 2, Noe's on the phone with Juan, and she's like, she gives her that ridiculous advice where she's like, well, sometimes to know that you like somebody, you have to like hug them or sometimes kiss them to know if you like them. And it's like, girl, in episode 9, you could have taken your own advice because those two get so close.
so
So
close, like
close. Girl, kiss her.
unnecessarily close.
What the fuck? What was that?
And it wasn't even know what he's doing. So,
No! That
go
was
for it, Noey.
Monmook started that shit. That's what I mean, it's all there. And then okay, but then we get there and then we're talking about their reunion in episode 9, but, like, how do we get there? How do the side bitches get reunion? It's because Noe finds a TikTok from Wan's store that, Monmook shares because she's in it, and if you know anything about TikTok, it's like, how did you come across this video, girl? Like, was this on her For You page? Like, was it the algorithm showing you content that you like? Which is content with Monmook in it because she's an influencer and she's popular on that website. So, like, or that app. So, that's suspicious. And if that wasn't the case, are you like friends with her and following her and have you been stalking her on social media this whole time? Like, either way,
Under
Nate, like, that says a lot about what you're into.
under
Just
the guise
saying.
of, like, protecting Juan from
Yeah.
her.
Yeah, how did that come across on your TikTok? Because you either have to go seek it or the algorithm knows what you like. Because the algorithm never lies. Okay, and like finding that social media post, that's what motivates Noe to go visit Juan's store. And honestly, she starts like getting real upset about the fact that Manmook is like flirting with Juan. It's like, why are you this upset? Juan was with Meownam at this point, and like, you seem real upset about this. And like, I understand Juan's your friend, and like Juan went through heartbreak and stuff, but like, that was 10 years ago. I'm just saying, I'm just building the narrative that there's a lot here GMMTV robbed us of. Okay, and then later on these two meet, okay? And like just go back and watch their whole conversation of Noe and Monmouth, and it's just like there's so much subtext. I can't even get into this in this episode because this is not a scene by scene breakdown, but like these two should have kissed. They should have in this scene because like we need to know if you guys like each other, and I feel like you guys need to know that too. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Just saying.
And I mean, if some people need to kiss to figure out if they like each other, you 2 may as well go for it.
It's them. I'm like, where'd this advice come from? Like, I feel like you're projecting, no?
I will say that you're when you said, like, evidence has been sprinkled around, it brought me to when Monmouth is saying, like, "Oh, don't think I didn't see how you liked Juan this whole time either." And then we get
Yeah.
these flashbacks of, Noe, like, about to go approach Juan,
One, air quotes.
assumably.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And
Uh-huh.
then getting sad and walking away, but who
Yeah.
was always there too?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Seriously. Go watch that whole conversation because there's so much there. It's all the subtext. Like they were into
And
each other.
again,
Juan was just there.
there is no reason for Monmouth to approach her that quickly and
No.
that
I
close.
get that close. Like it was so emotionally charged. It was kinda like it's kinda like the and May situation where it's like Oom's kind of there, and it was never about Oom. And so
Yeah.
Oom is Juan, and then it's like May and I are Noe and Monbook. That's just what it is. That's just what it is. And GMMTV, you're cowards for not giving us that. Because it made a lot of sense. That's all I'm saying.
It really did. But like how
Yeah.
rude to throw that in episode
It
9.
was so rude to get that in the penultimate episode, and then we never revisit
Nothing
it.
else in episode 10.
That was upsetting. It was very the most that was the one and only crime they committed in the show was that. Was giving me that and taking it away. All in one episode. On like a 5-minute span. I was like, "Yay, what?"
Talk
Fuck
about a
you.
roller coaster
Yeah. Fucking GMMTV. I didn't even know we were on the ride.
until it was
Anyway,
over.
it was over, yeah. All right. So that's the couples. Now let's like take a time to appreciate the characters themselves. And let's start with Meownam, the fucking cutest person on earth. Honestly, she is like the hardest working character I've ever seen ever. And I love the fact that she somehow miraculously never lets it get to her. Like ever. She's always so sunny and like full of energy despite like working 10 jobs and then like emotionally taking care of Juan. Like she's superwoman is what I'm saying.
That is a great point because that girl is never not doing something. Like she teaches at night so she can work literally all day long.
Literally.
with Mountain service, and
Mhm.
this is something random, but I love when she's explaining what she does for Mountain service to Wan in episode 2. She starts listing all these things off, and she's like, "I do everything that is legal." So, she's got morals,
She sure does.
but
Is
I
she
just love that she
insinuating
made
that
sure to
Juan
say
does
that.
not?
Who
Who
knows?
knows?
Maybe Mousemart doesn't do things that are legal, and she's like, "I'm changing that."
Yeah. But I will give it to her. I love that even when she's exhausted, she has like the physical and emotional energy to take care of other people, like Juan, for example. She takes care of that whole community, but Juan needs a lot of emotional support and physical support. And Meownam is so patient the entire show until we finally get to the part at the end where she's like, Juan, you're paying off your debt by working for me, and I am your boss, bitch. Like, that's like as close to breaking as she gets. But honestly, like, she's an incredibly patient person, which is really amazing. Cause I feel like if that were me, I would like be over it pretty fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So kudos to her for that. And then something else I noticed by watching this series was that she 100% has a praise kink. Meaning, anytime, which, like, good for you, girl. Meaning that anytime she gets like compliments, they affect her, is what I'm saying. So, like, that's why, like, the you're awesome thing, every time it comes up, like, we get slow motion and just like all this stuff. So, like, the first time it happens is in episode 2 when Juan calls her awesome for the first time. And like the praise kink is like activated because then that's when she tells Tonnam that she's like, that's when it like escalates into like, I'm into her romantically. Oh my God. Cause like she's like, she feeling things. So she gets told she's awesome by Juan specifically. So thank you for writing a character with a kink. We're here for it. No, no kink shaming ever. Good for you, Meow Nam. You get yours.
Yeah, I did not, notice it until you mentioned it in a reaction video, I believe, and then rewatching, I was like, "Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's there."
Yeah. No, they like show us what the camera work to. I'm like, this girl has a praise kink. I mean, good for you. It's fine. Okay, and then Meownam, I like that she's not just the love interest. She also had her own thing going on. And yeah, it took backseat to Wan because Wan's the main character, but we do get a fleshing out of Meownam's past, why she's haunted, why she's like working 10 jobs instead of being the heiress to Mouse Mart and all that stuff. And it all comes back to her relationship with her mother. There's a lot of parent relationships in the show that I think were really good because in general, family is important, and in Thailand specifically, the culture is very, um, elder revering, and the relationship between like parent and child is very strong and emphasized. And so I like that they had these different plot lines with a bunch of different characters with their one parent or both. Well, actually, it's all one parent because body counts. But I like Meow Nam's plot with her mom, and I thought it was so GMMTV style where like you get to the end and you see it all and then you go back and rewatch it and you're like, well, fuck. Because rewatching it, watching it on the first go, you are seeing the world through Meow Nam's lens. So, and she's an unreliable narrator when it comes to this, and you don't realize it because, like, why would you not trust her? She's very trustworthy, but she's missing the bigger picture of what's going on with her mom, and she's only seeing the world through her like child lens, and that like traumatizes her basically because she doesn't have the context of anything. And then when you go back and realize why mom was doing what she was doing, and you go back and watch the earlier scenes, you realize that her mom's not a villain. Her mom was always like genuinely seemed to care about her the whole time. It's just that like when you first see it, you're biased by what Meownam's feeling in those scenes, and you're like, wow, mom's evil. But like she's really not. Like go back and watch the scenes again, and you're just like, oh, she was not provoking her at all. Like she was just genuinely cared about her daughter. And just Meownam was couldn't see it because she was, you know, very emotional when it comes to her mom and had things she hadn't processed and or talked about with her mother yet. And so it was like clouding all their interactions.
Yeah, it defin definitely, like, every conversation is a lot more layered than what Meow thinks either. because uh we see that she doesn't hear the full conversation, or at least remember the full conversation that her mom and dad had when they were separating.
I don't think she could hear it is the thing, because she was in the car, and then because when you first watch that scene with Meow from Meownam's point of view, she only hears some of the conversation, and then when you get Mom's point of
Yeah.
view, you hear the whole that's the thing, like, Meownam is an unreliable narrator, 'cause and you don't realize it, so you're just like, "Wow, this is terrible." Especially, like, when you get Meownam in the car, and her mom is saying stuff like, "Don't be weak, don't cry," and Meownam is like, "Oh, she's yelling at me," and she quickly is like, "I can't cry, I can't be weak," this kind of stuff. And then when you get Mom's point of view and you pull out, you realize Mom is talking to herself, because she just did this huge thing where she's like, "I'm not taking money from you, whatever. I'm just taking the kid. I'm getting the fuck out of here." And then she's like, "Why am I letting this guy affect me? It's just her and me now." And that's the mindset she's in. And she's trying to be strong for her daughter, but her daughter is like, "You're yelling at me." And it's like, yeah, it just,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. And anytime they talk, like like the very beginning when Meownam, like, Mom's like, "Come see me," and then she comes over for dinner and she's like, "Oh, try this. Like, isn't it good?" It's like, "I'm gonna start selling it at Mouse Mart." And like, Mom is not being evil, but like, or like provoking Meownam, but Meownam is so closed off and scared because she's afraid of like her mom because of that scene in the car. And it's like, but when you go back and watch Mom, like, Mom's not really doing it. Mom is showing she's genuinely interested in her daughter. Like, it's just, yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild.
And then especially rewatching the scene where her mom takes her out after finding her at Wan's shop in episode 7. Her mom talks to her about how Meownam doesn't realize how exhausting it is to carry the weight of taking care of someone else. So, like, this all goes back to her argument that Meownam was not aware of everything that was being said. And her mom continues to say, like, she doesn't Miana doesn't realize how much trouble Mouse Mart is actually going to bring to Wan's store. And this trouble is going to cause Mianam to want to take care of Wan more, and then create a gap between them more, because their social uh statuses are not going to match. And so that disparity is going to cause more of a rift in this relationship. And it's not going to end well for them. She's going to be exhausted and resentful. And one of the more telling things that the mom says during this conversation is, "You still believe love is an important thing." And it makes me so sad, because like that, you do see how much that argument and like that relationship caused distress to her. Like, she is broken herself, like, on the inside, because has trouble loving. Like, she doesn't think that it's important. Like, it's now just success. Like, keep success on the brain, because that's the most important. Because if you don't need to rely on someone else, then you will be fine. And it just makes me wonder if there's actual love in her new marriage, because like there's also that scene where they're talking about, there's the TikTok of one store, and they're like, X is out of Mouse Mart, like Sam is like attacking the mouse or something like that. And Myeonam's mom's like, "Oh, yeah, like the story, it's like in a honeymoon period right now, but it will end. Honeymoons always end." So she's just like kind of jaded with love, and like I'm wondering if she's even able to love herself right now.
I don't think this has to do with her. I think that's a reflection of her past experience with Meownam's dad. Because do you remember what their relationship was like? Like Meownam's mom and her dad, like her bio dad, like why
Uh
they broke up?
yeah, he had another woman.
That, and then the reason he quote cheated on her was because she was the breadwinner
Yeah.
and he was unemployed. So they had a disparity. And I think the reason they got together was love. And I think the reason they got to having a teenage daughter was because Mom's like, "Well, we love each other. It'll be fine. Like, love is all that matters." But then in the end, it wasn't. The fact that he resented her for being successful because the man is supposed to be the provider. And that's why he cheated on her. So he blamed her for the fact that he was not successful. And so that's what ended the marriage. And then, so what she was trying to impart on Meownam in this scene was like, I see you headed down the path I was headed down and what led to my
Mhm.
divorce and broke my heart forever. And she's like, basically, is like, I don't want you to be in that position ever, ever, which is why she's like, you need to be able to stand on your own 2 feet and not rely on anybody because they'll fuck you over like I got fucked over. And like, and then Meownam's mom had a kid also to take care of. So it wasn't just her getting fucked over, the kid was getting fucked over. So like that's why she's so hyper fixated on Meownam being like, you need to get up to a PhD, you need to be as capable of standing on your own as you possibly can. That's why she pushes Meownam. It's because she doesn't want Meownam to have her life. Basically, she wants better for her. And so, yeah, that scene in episode 7 was more like mom's like, I see the red flags, and I didn't see them when I was young and in love. So, like, I'm just trying to be like, I know you're fantasizing about this and you think your love's going to save the store, but she's like, statistically speaking, we're going to put them out of business. Like, that's just the way it goes. And then she wasn't really wrong with the TikTok thing. She's like, this is a trend. Trends go away in
Yeah.
3 days. Like, she's not wrong. She's like, it's not going to sustain them. What's going to, like, our prices and our model is going to sustain us. They're eventually going to go out of business because that's capitalism, which we'll get to later. But yeah, she's like, you need to be realistic and not like naive and have rose colored glasses on. This is real life. And like people can get hurt when it comes to money and like, cause that's like real life, like love's great, but like unfortunately we live in a world where you need money to survive and money can cause rifts between people. And she's like, I'm afraid that Juan's going to resent you and then you'll end up living my life. That's really what that conversation was about. But when it comes to her new marriage with Mouse Smart Man, like, who knows? Like maybe not. They seem more chill with each other, possibly because they're both independently successful. Like he was successful with Mousemart, and she was already successful, which was the issue with Bio Dad. So I
Yeah.
feel like maybe they're better off because they're equals successfully, and there isn't that resentment that there was with like Meownam's Bio Dad, possibly.
I hope so, just for her sake. Because, like,
Yeah,
going back and watching, like, I really do want the best for her
yeah.
because she really is just she tried really hard.
She got fucked over. Like,
Yeah.
then yeah. And again, Meownim was a kid, and like, who the hell is gonna dump that reality on their child? Like, like, so mom kept that from her because why would you tell your child your father's awful? Like, anyway, it's a shitty position to be in, but I do like the way it resolved, and then classic GMMTV. Seriously, go back and watch the scenes with the mom again, and like she really is not a villain. And to me, having the context, it really all those interactions really read as like she's looking out for Meownam, but Meownam is defensive immediately, and that clouded my first impression when I watched this. And that's what GMMTV wanted because they're fucking amazing screenwriters.
They are.
They're so good. Love it. Okay. Other thing I love about Meownam is that she can kick ass, literally. So I like the scene in episode 5 where Wan is about to get sexually assaulted by that
Oh
mouse
my
mart
god.
dude, and Meownam shows up and roundhouse kicks the dude. That was some top tier girlfriend behavior. And I love she's the little one and roundhouse kicks this dude. It's so good. It's so
Just because
good.
she's little doesn't mean she's not mighty.
No, and then um watching it I was like, well damn, that came out of nowhere. But then if you watch the series, there's a moment that explains this where basically the reason she did like could just do that out of nowhere was because her mother made her take taekwondo as a kid. And again, mom was like looking out for her daughter. She's like, I need you to be able to defend yourself, and like so you're going to go into self-defense classes. And like that was like a throwaway line, but then once you kind of like learn about the mom, like it makes sense why mom pushed her to take taekwondo classes because everything her mom does was really geared towards Meownam being able to take care of herself in like all aspects of her life, and it like does work. Like here we go, she's defending her girlfriend against creepy men. um and then last Meownam thing I have purely about her, probably my favorite scene was in episode 10 where Meownam has the confrontation with her mom and they like finally talk about stuff. give Love an award for this scene because the way she acted this out was so good. Like her voice acting was so heartbreaking because that's what it was supposed to be. Like, just go back and listen to it. The way her like voice is cracking during this scene when she's like trying to get all these emotions out. It was just very powerful and just one of her best scenes that I've seen from her. Well done. It's nice to been able to see her mature as an actor from like I think they were Bad Buddy to like 23.5 to like this series, and it's just really cool to see.
She did a really great job, like, both the actors, but, like, I know we're talking about Meownam right now.
Oh, we'll
It
we'll get into
was
Milk. Milk has a scene where she should have gotten an award, but yeah, that was Love's best scene, in my opinion. All right.
yeah.
Speaking of Juan, let's move on. So yeah, my favorite acting moment from Milk. Milk did a great job, first of all, as Juan. But one of the best acted scenes, period, in this series, in my opinion, is in episode 1 after Wan and Meownam find the cat for the first time. They're like, "What do we do with this thing?" And Meownam restores the power to the store. And they're in the store and just talking, and Wan starts explaining why she's really back here instead of like in the city. And she starts getting into the fact that she's not here to get the deed and like foreclose the house and all that stuff. She's here because she misses her dad. And she starts talking about like how she thought by physically being here she'd be closer to him and her regrets for not coming back and all that kind of stuff. And again, this is Milk deserves an award scene because her grief in this conversation is so raw and real. And again, she utilizes her voice really well, also, the way it's also cracking. And I like that when she's delivering her lines in this scene, she like takes her time. Like she has a lot of pregnant pauses in this scene. And it made it so powerful. And it was just a perfectly executed grief and like confession scene. And so kudos to you, ma'am. The scene was so superb. Loved it.
Superb and heartbreaking, like, you really felt everything that this character was feeling in this moment, and it just gave you so much more depth to the character, the relationship, why she was here, like, the whole reason for the show, and it was a really great scene. Like, the both of them. I mean, they both had to cry so much in this show, but, like, yeah, they really killed it.
Yeah. Love this. Okay.
S Just something I love about Wan in general
Yeah.
is how much she is like Angsa,
Yes.
older Angsa, because oh my gosh, who else was missing Angsa? Because I was. Like, that ridiculousness of just, like, flopping on the bed, being like, "Why did I do that?" Like, she's had those moments, just ridiculousness. She like, she is a really good comedic timing as
She
well.
is.
And talking to animals, like,
Oh
I
yeah.
think
I have that in my
we'll talk
favorite
yeah.
moments. Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one later, but just in general, she's great working with animals. That should be on her resume. Well, Milk's resume. Both of them,
Yes.
really.
Oh, Juan's resume is I work for my cat. Come see my store. That is canon.
That
All right.
cat.
Anything else about Juan?
Um, she's just real. I love her. She's, not flawed, but, like, her having to learn going from, like, that corporate capitalist world to like becoming the small business owner. It was really great to see her transition from that, and just it was a whole new world for her. Like, she technically lived in this world, but she's been removed from it so long that she forgot it, and she kind of forgot where she came from, and just you really did get to see her relearn everything and the importance of community and talk about the community later as well,
Yeah,
but
I'll get into everything you just said in more detail to be like how they showed us all those things. But yeah, she was the fish out of water for a bit and like learned to find her footing again. And it was a
yeah.
very good character arc.
We got lots more about Wan coming up, so we can continue.
All right, so let's move on to Chompoo and her mother because I fucking love that. Again, another one of the parent storylines. So yeah, we're gonna go from like Meownam and her mom to Chompoo and her mom, and eventually we'll get to Wan and her dad because Wan and her dad's like the bulk of this. But let's move on to these two and their whole arc because this was superb. Also,
Before we get into like the actual show and like relevant stuff, I just found something out while doing notes for this show, and Chompoo's mother in the show, the actress, her real name is Chompoo.
oh, that's awesome.
And I just thought that was ironic and funny, considering the character's name, like, is shared with the cat. Like, there's the salon is shared with the
Oh
cat,
yeah,
and
Psalm and yeah, Chompoo,
yeah.
Chompoo.
So
That's
I
really
just thought
funny.
that was ironic, and I had to share that with all of you.
Of course, of course. One thing I love about these two is that Chompoo and her mother clearly very much love each other. And I think that stems a lot from the fact that this is another situation where you have a single parent where Chompoo's dad died. I forget when exactly or how young she was, but allegedly, like, Psalm has been raising Chompoo by herself for like a very long time. So, like, Chompoo is like her whole world kind of thing. And they're clearly very close. Like, they have that, like, I've known you my whole life bantering. Like, it's very clear that they just love each other, and I love that about the two of them. And so the setup for her plot line, the really reason why her and Tonnam are closeted, their relationship basically is because Chompoo is so close to her mother, she's afraid that her mom's not going to accept her queerness. And I thought this was like the way it was handled was really good. And it's like the way it played out, again, it was not that mom is homophobic. It's just she was worried. Like, all came from the fact that like mom spent this whole Meownam's mom was basically like, I spend this whole time like imagining a future for you that I think is what's going to be best for you and set you up for success. And then Chompoo's like, I'm worried that like by me being like, your dreams for me are never going to happen, that's not going to fly over well because mom has spent all this time trying to like make me successful, and that's what success is in her eyes. Same thing with Meownam's mom, right? Meownam's mom's like, get a PhD, dude. That's what success looks like in my eyes. And then it's like the daughters are like, but that doesn't work for me. And with those two storylines, it's like Meownam and her mom aren't close because of the rift that happened. So Meownam just hides things from her mom versus like Chompoo is very close with her mother and is not used to hiding things from her. So it like eats her up inside that she's hiding things. And then she doesn't know, once she's been doing it for 3 years, she's like, I don't know how to undo this. I'm afraid of the consequences of this because I love my mother so much. So I like the way it was handled in general as a plot line. And then I like that we get glimpses of Chompoo, not just with her mom, but with her whole family. And one thing I found super relatable and real was her exhaustion from being asked, when are you going to get married? Relentlessly by her female relatives that happened in episode 4. Like, when her like family bum rushes the apartment and Tonnam has to leave, like, that's so real to just over and over and over again, just as a woman, get asked that constantly. Ugh, poor baby.
Yeah, it sounds exhausting and would not wish it on anyone.
I
Why are
mean,
we still doing this?
I've been through that. I understand this. It's relentless and exhausting. So I felt that from her for sure. And so you have like her on that end is like she's exhausted from like hiding this, but she's afraid to come clean. And then in that same episode, we get Tonnam's exhaustion from being the secret girlfriend. And both people's like feelings are so valid in this scenario. It's just their feelings are at odds with each other, which makes their plot line interesting. It's not that anybody is being toxic to the other person. It's like they're in this situation and it's not an easy situation and it is hard to navigate, but they're emotionally at odds while they're trying to navigate it together, which is real life. Like it's so good.
That's a good point. It all stems back to, like, this is real life.
This
This
is real
isn't
life.
just
Yeah, real life isn't
crafted for a
scripted.
story.
People have
Yeah,
emotions, and like, not everybody's good at handling emotions. Not everybody's good at talking, and it's like that causes drama, you know. And I like the way the story ends up unfolding between Tonam and Chompoo because starting here, we get a lot of Tonam's point of view at the beginning of this whole thing.
mhm,
Like her frustration clouds how we view the whole scenario, right? And like stemming from this episode 4 situation, like when at the very end, like Psalm comes back and Tonam's like, crap, I gotta hide again. And Chompoo's like, no, just sit there. And then mom comes in, and then the opportunity comes up for Chompoo to be like, "This is my girlfriend," but instead she says roommate, and then you just see Tonam look crushed when this happens, and like I felt bad for her in that scene because like she's so tired of this, and she feels like nothing's ever gonna change, and they're in this rut with this relationship, and it can't move forward like she wants it to, like she thinks they both want it to, right? Because like really it's Chompoo's family and Chompoo needs to be the one to do this, but she's not doing it. So to her, it feels like Chompoo's not taking her feelings seriously, right? Like you brought that up earlier. But then over time, we start peeling back the layers of like why Chompoo panics in this moment with her mom. And then in the scene, not only does she say she's my roommate, Chompoo gives this unasked for and long-winded explanation for why Tonam is her roommate. And even her mom is like, that's a really long explanation I didn't ask for. And it's because they know each other really well, and it's because Chompoo knows her mom, and she's been conditioned into this behavior out of fear. She's like, I have to overcompensate so mom won't ask me any questions, and she'll just accept what I'm doing is logical and makes sense. And I don't want her poking at this. So that's why she does
that's
this.
fair.
And then when mom is
That
like, I didn't ask for this long explanation you just gave me. Like, yes, it's funny, like you laugh, and it's playful and definitely part of the banter that this mother-daughter pair has. But then later, as the show keeps going, Tonram ends up spending more time with Chompoo's mom, more one-on-one, and she sees their dynamic at home. And she realizes how critical Chompoo's mom comes off. The way she, in their bantering, puts her daughter down. And you can read it that way. And that's how Tonam ends up reading this. And then she realizes how that actually affects Chompoo. And then Tonam comes to understand everything more clearly from Chompoo's point of view. She's like, I understand why you're so scared now. And so I love that their relationship ends up being like really about learning the other person's point of view, and by understanding where the other person's coming from, really by like living their experience a little bit more, they end up having a conversation about this, and it does strengthen their relationship. Like this easily could have caused a rift to be like, I don't want to be closeted, I'm past that, and that's valid, like to draw that line in the sand if that's what works best for you. But like Tonam over time is like, I understand why you're so afraid, and like I understand that you need to do this at your own pace, and me pushing you is not going to solve this. Like you have to figure out how to do this. I can only help you so much. And I like that about their relationship and how it was written.
that's a good point that, like, they learned each other's point of view because at one point they do flip with what they how they act because, like, it goes to, like, Tonnam being like, "Oh, I don't want her to be upset. I don't wanna, like, disappoint her, like, I don't want her to, like, not accept this relationship." And then it becomes, like, Chompoo's like, "Oh, this is what's happening. She can either accept it or not. Like, this is like, I want you. You were together. She has to realize that. We'll just give her space." And so I just like, I found it very interesting that they did flip in their actions. And like you said, it was really just trying like, learning where the other person was coming from and their feelings for it.
Yeah, and to go back to the scene you brought up earlier, the final straw for Chompoo was really when Tonnam stood up to her mother on her behalf because no one had ever done that before. And then, like you described, Tonnam was crying because she was so afraid that she outed Chompoo and that Chompoo would be upset about that. And that was really the turning point. She was like, something has to change and I have to do it. And like me being afraid of doing this is harming you and like not helping. So that's what kind of pushes her to do it. And then things get weird because mom then has to process this information. And I like when we jump to the scene where Chompoo and her mother are finally alone and they talk, and we finally get Sam's point of view. And she explains that she's acting weird after she finds out because Chompoo didn't tell her. So like think about it. They've been alone, just this duo, mother-daughter duo for years. And Sam's like, I know my daughter so well. We can talk about anything. But Chompoo kept this relationship for her for 3 years. 3 years. Her daughter was lying to her for 3 years. Something that's a huge part of her daughter's life. And then she's like, I felt like a horrible mother, but A, by the fact that you didn't trust me enough to tell me this, and then B, that I didn't see it. Like, that's why she was acting like what a bombshell that is to be like, I've had a girlfriend for 3 years and never told you. Like, when you're like, it's like, I thought we were friends, man. What the fuck? Like, that's a big thing. It's not like, I love that it wasn't homophobia. It was just like, it's like, do we even know each other? What else have you been lying to me about? Like, you know what I mean? It's like the thing
Mhm.
in Pluto where sorry if you've never seen Pluto, skip ahead like a few seconds, where I tells Mima, oh, yeah, why she didn't get the degree, why she lied to her about
Yeah,
it, and that's that scene where Mima's like, "Do I even know you?" That's what's happening here, and that's such a valid reaction for Sam to have. And
it
again, when you're
really
watching
is.
it, you're seeing the scenes through Chompoo's lens, and you're just like, "Wow, mom is being avoidant, mom is doing this." Who knows how young Sam was when she had her daughter? Like, how emotionally mature was Sam when she became a mother? You know, like she reads to me like somebody who perhaps was young when she had her daughter, wasn't fully emotionally like mature, and kind of like she's a very playful person. I'm not saying these are negative things about her, but like in fact they're positive things. It makes her very good at what she does, which is a job that's very people oriented, and it's what makes her business successful. But like when it comes to like raising a kid, like it's a humongous task, emotionally taxing, and perhaps like that's how they ended up in that banter where it's like bicker bantering as their love language kind of thing. It kind of stems from the fact that maybe she was young when she had her daughter, and that's kind of like how she navigated it. So this really big thing that's just a process comes up, and I imagine that was hard for her, and so that's why she kept avoiding her to be like, I'm trying to work through this, but it's just taking me time because, like, who knows how to navigate that? That's such a huge bomb.
It is. But like I do understand the mom, like you've been saying, like we do see their relationship so easy. Like to be able to bicker back and forth and just be able to say things means you have to feel safe with the other person. Like that
Yes.
what you're saying is not going to be taken the wrong way. So there's a lot of trust in that relationship. And again, like 3 years is a very, very long time to have not been told something that's major in your daughter's life and how she's been like hounding her about getting a boyfriend. So she's like, am I hurting the situation even more because like I was so insistent on this one thing that now I was hurting my daughter in the process and like not being able to have her trust me enough to tell me what's going on.
And also, like,
And
to your point, thinking about Psalm, thinking about those interactions, I imagine she was like, I was pushing you to have a boyfriend because I want you to be taken care of. And, I want you to have a partner that will take care of you and that will work with you. And so that's why she was pushing so hard. But then to be like, you had one all along and didn't tell me, and I still did that. Like, that must be embarrassing too, to be like, damn, all the times I did that when
yeah,
Chompoo didn't need it, or she didn't stop me. Why didn't she stop me? Like, yeah, it seems like a big breach of like my daughter doesn't trust me kind of thing. And that's
And she's
really
so
shitty after being like we were so close for so long.
yeah.
Yeah, and like and then you kind of see moments with when Tonnam's living with them, which why the fuck were they living at the mom's house? I still don't get that.
I no, I don't. Yeah,
I
but
think
it's
it's like
okay.
I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's kind of like in Asian cultures, like it's not weird for like kids to live with their parents when they're unmarried. I don't know about their partners living there too, but like I would imagine that's
I
the scenario. Not that they were partners. It was like my friend's also going to be here. I feel like that's less weird than it
I
would
think
be in
it was
America.
Chompoo's way of, like, trying to get the mom to see
Well,
them together more.
yes, yes, no, absolutely. I'm thinking from Sam's perspective to be like, yeah, sure, you and your roommate can move in, but she was
Yeah,
just very accepting very quickly of that. But anyway, like thinking back to her, crap, what was I saying? Damn, I might have lost it. Fuck.
sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Nope, I forgot. It's gone now. Maybe it'll come back. All right. Anyway, nope. Okay. So okay, and then we like once they kind of like talk, like Chompoo and her mother. I like then we get Psalm's journey to like quote be herself around Tonnam, and it was really cute the way she did try very hard to like bond with Tonam, like after she's like, oh crap, this is the daughter-in-law, and she tried so hard, and I love that Psalm is really portrayed as a human, somebody who's flawed, and she's just like everybody else, and she made mistakes along the way, learned from the mistakes, and changed to make things better. And that was very consistent for probably every single character in the series. I love that, like that they made them very human, and it became very apparent to me with like with this character and her daughter, and just I love their story so much.
I really liked when Chompoo was talking to her mom, and she's like, "Just be natural. We just wanted to be just be, like, normal. We wanna be treated like we're normal." And, like, that just means, like, in general for, like, same-sex couples, anybody in the LGBTQ plus community, like, we just wanna feel like we're normal because we are, so just treat us like it's nothing different. And I just like that, um, part of the conversation as well.
Yeah.
Anything else for them?
Nope.
Alright. So, I would like to talk quickly about Noe, and
Ooh.
if we ignore her role in the side bitches,
Which you
um,
shouldn't, but
no, we shouldn't,
you
but, like,
shouldn't.
face value for her scenes of, like, Noe processing that Wan is in a relationship with Meownam and being like, "I really have to get over her now. That's not the person that you think you're in love with, but it's okay. We'll get there in a spinoff."
I hope so.
But Noe did a great job in general at just being a friend to Juan this whole time instead of letting her feelings become an issue. Because I'm just really glad that she didn't let those feelings like cause her to be resentful towards Juan. Like she was always there for her. You brought this up at some point. Like there was a how many year gap, 10-year gap where she
10.
wasn't with somebody and she really could have gotten her way in there. So the side bitches are that's another thing for the side bitches because she had an opportunity for 10 years to tell Juan how she felt. So maybe she didn't feel that way. This was a roundabout way of saying, "Noe, you gotta realize that you're part of the side bitches."
Yeah, but it's also like really sad from Noe's point of view that she's been potentially harboring a crush for 10 years. Like an
Yeah.
unrequited crush for 10 years. Like, girl, you gotta move on. 10 years is a long fucking time. Like, you gotta be happy too. And
Yeah, I mean, she was
Monmook's
killing
right there,
herself this whole
girl.
time.
Monmook's right there. Go get her.
Seriously.
Okay, but then on a same vein, like speaking about Monmook and her story, like honestly, she as a character annoyed me most of the time, but I did like the plot line of exes can go back to being friends sometimes because that is real life. It's not like you have to hate your ex on principle forever. If you do and never want to talk to them again and it's toxic for you, that's valid. But not everybody has that experience. Some people are able to just be like, get past the feelings, process them, and then be friends again. Cause, like, especially if it was a good relationship that started on a foundation of friendship, and so I like that they depict that because media does not always depict that reality for some people. And I appreciate that they put it here, that you can get past that at some point potentially and be friends again. So I like that they put that in there.
Especially for lesbians, because 'cause isn't that like a stereotype? Like, you're friends with all your exes, and then your exes have gone out with each other and, like, that whole
Yes.
thing.
See the L
Yeah,
word.
so yes, the L
And
word.
probably girl rules.
Can't wait. So
Cannot
excited.
wait.
We're getting so much closer
We're
now.
getting closer, everyone. It's going to happen. They are filming now as of the time of this recording.
Alright, anything else about Mama? Alright, I just wanna give an honorable mention, honorable shout out to Fern, who I feel like we did not get enough of and was underutilized in the show.
I
Like, Fern
agree.
was just used as some's, like, buddy, like, played off of him in scenes, but I we got so much backstory for so many different characters
I
that
know.
we really should have gotten. Fern's the only character, I think, that we did not get a backstory for.
No,
We
we
could
did
have had,
not.
like, a couple more lines. Just a
It's
little bit
true.
more.
It's true.
He still won my heart.
Thank you, Fern, for your service.
Fern, yes. Thank you. And thank you to all of our Chaos Crew members over on Patreon. We're going to take a
Woo!
quick break to give some shout outs. So, our,
Wait,
nope, let
the
me get the
overlay.
thingy. I got it. So I kept it up. I was going
Woo!
to remember. I wasn't. So, thank you.
Yay!
Anyway, our Chaos Crew members on the oh, God. It's going great, guys. On the Big Gay Ride or Die tier are Amix Monzone underscore multi, Ariel W, Danny, Duxie, Erica LC, Here for It, Jasmine O, Jill L, Cassie M, Leona, Michelle G, Monet F, Moving Forward Leading, Nancy D, Natalia, Pooja S, Regina B, and Wurjibich.
Woo!
Woohoo! And our featured Big A supporter members for this episode are Janie C, Gemma D, and Monica F. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
all of your support. Thank you to everyone on Patreon, part of the Chaos Crew. We really appreciate you, but also thank you to everyone listening or watching this episode. We genuinely appreciate all of the support that we have been given. It really means the world to us because I still can't believe that there's so many of you watching this and supporting us.
Yeah,
It blows our mind. We just have
amazing.
conversations randomly. Sometimes we're like, why? I'm so glad you like it, but, like, why?
Let
It
us
just
know
blows our
why.
mind.
Why
Yeah,
are you
why? Why
here?
do you love us?
Why are you
Anyway, I thank you again. Make sure if you can't join Patreon and get all the early access to content, full reaction videos and things, just go check out Discord. It's a free place to chat with us and so many other people who love queer media. You make friends. It's a really awesome community that I'm really glad that is growing over there, and so let's make it bigger by you joining us.
Think about it as your own little online version of Whale Store, where everyone's there
Yeah,
to support each other and clown around and sometimes argue. Not that we have much arguing on there, honestly, and just bond and have
friendly
fun because
arguing.
we are stronger together. Discord.
That's Discord's new
Yeah, so
ad.
come make some
Thank you.
friends. Be part of the big gay energy community.
Yeah.
All right, with that, let's jump right back into Whale Store and let's talk about all the supportive parents in this show because there are a lot and I appreciate that. And we'll start first with Wan's father because that's the main plot point. And we already talked about Chompoo and her mom. So I love the fact that he was so supportive of both Wan and Meownam, like just naturally, even though like Meownam was not his daughter, he just kind of like Was like, "I have all this love to give and my daughter's not here, let me take care of this girl."
She was basically his daughter.
Yeah.
I loved his relationship with Meow. And, like, she cherished that relationship with him that much like, so much as well. Like, cause that conversation in episode 2, I believe, where Juan is talking about why she came back and how much her dad means. Meownam actually called him Papa Youth at
Yeah.
first before
Mhm.
switching to uncle, and it was just like you saw how close she was to him, and first of all, her having to find him and, like, get him to the hospital, like, oh
Yeah.
my god, my heart.
Awful. Awful.
It's a terrible situation, and then sh her I'm sorry, now that we're here, her telling Juan, "I didn't get him here in time," like, "Girl, you did everything you could, don't put this on yourself."
I know.
But
I
that's just
know.
how much, like, she cared about him, and then he also cared about her enough to see her relentlessly studying outside his store to be like, "Hey, how about you read this and help me fix this?" And, like, he's actually the one who helped her start Meow Service because he believed in her, was like, "You can do anything," and, like, told everybody else, like, "This girl can fix anything, like, anything you want, she can do," and that's why she learned to be so self-sufficient and create her own life because of him, and, like, that's the greatest gift that he could have given her.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this is kind of like she was surrogate Juan, so like Juan, went off into the city, and we'll get to that later. But like, so he had another daughter, and he's like, "Let me pass on what I know to you," kind of thing. And it was really cute, just particularly because like he had that hole in his heart from like Juan not being there all the time. Like, yes, he loves his daughter. I'm not questioning that, but like she's not physically there for him to like shower his love affect consistently. And then Meownam also like did not have a father figure, so like he fills that gap for her. So I like that they were that for each other, and it read really sweetly as a sweet like father daughter relationship. I love that
And they
about them.
also had the bantering going back and forth.
Yeah, just like
That
Chompoo
was
and her
really cute to
mom.
see, yeah.
Yeah, because they knew each other really really well as adults. Like it was very sweet. And then getting back to his relationship with Juan, I thought it was really ironic and sweet how supportive he was of Juan's career, that he never did the guilt tripping thing to try to get her to spend time with him. Like Chompoo's mom did that shit where she was like, "Oh, you don't want to hang out with me, blah blah blah." Like he never did that to her. He was never like, "You don't see your old man, like blah blah blah, like I've raised you." Like he doesn't do that ever on the phone with her. Like the very first phone call we get between them in episode 1, when Juan's like rushing out the door and she's like, "Dad, I don't really have time to talk to you. I got to go to work." He says, "Don't worry. Prioritize your work." Like he doesn't be like, "You never have time for me." Like does not
You
complain. He's
don't
like, "I
come home when you
understand.
say you
You're
will.
This is the sacrifice. Go do that one. Go be successful." Like, but then the irony I will get into is that they have less time together because of that. Their relationship gets sacrificed. But that's for another segment coming up very, very soon. Anything else about the parents, just in general?
I don't think so. We talked a lot about parents in general right now already.
Okay. Yeah, we talked about the actual blood relations, but I also want to add in the found family element, where you have not only does everybody have their blood relations, but there's surrogate parents happening and surrogate siblings with the whale little community where whale store is located. And I love that it operates like a family where like it's not always happy go lucky. Like the shop owners bicker with each other, they like get on each other's nerves, like, and then but they love each other at the end of the day. And I love that like that found family was there first of all because it was adorable, but also it was a complex found family, like actual families. So I just love the whole dynamic of the shop owners and like how all of that goes down with like Juan and Meownam and everybody else. It was really cute and I loved it.
I really love seeing all the scenes where, like, they come together. I mean, you have the not so drunk Juan
Juan.
scene, which is hilarious.
It
Because
is.
at that point, she's just like, I don't know how to make them go. Like, I'm
Right, I
trying. I'm
tried.
still learning how to be a part of this community. But this is a lot. I'm tired. They won't leave. But you see how she becomes, like, really ingrained as we go along, and they start to meeting up together more, and to the point, like, where the last episode, they're having, like, the goodbye, and, like, Sam is crying because, like, "I'm gonna miss you," and you see Juan, like, fully accept her place in this community, and it's just so great to see just the acceptance of everybody, because they really did accept each other. And something else is just Sam always being like, "Oh, I don't have to worry about her anymore." Like, cause she was so worried about, um, Meownam and Juan, and, like, who's gonna take care of her, like, she's running herself ragged at the store, like, she's overworked, like, she's truly cares about the well-being of these people, and that goes for everyone. She just says it. She's the character who gives us the most exposition, so, uh we understand how she's feeling more, but they all do truly care about each other and seeing each other succeed. However, I will say something that was pretty messed up was when they all agreed not to buy at Mouse Mart, and then in the same exact episode, all bought something from Mouse Mart. I'm just saying.
That's the reality of capitalism and how that goes down, where we become the agents of our own demise. That's what that was, because by engaging in the big box chain, you're gonna kill your own businesses by doing that. Like, wait till they start stocking salon supplies, then your salon's gone. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's agents of our own destruction. That's just real life. But okay, like, but like, if you think about those people, like, you could break them down. So, like, into their family roles. So, like, Psalm's the mom. She's surrogate
Mhm.
mom to everybody. Then you have I forget everybody's name, but like the older gentleman, he's like the dad because he's like disconnected. He comes in every once in a while to make a comment and then he like fucks off.
Yeah.
Like, that's the dad. He's the patriarch, but that's like not engaged because Sam runs the show. And then you have the other guy. He's like the drunk uncle. He's fun. He shows up. He's there to party, but you cannot rely on him at all. He's got his own shit going on. So like he's the uncle. And then you have the restaurant owner, she's like the aunt. Like, you can rely on her, but she's got her own shit going on. She will tell you
Yeah.
off. Like, she's the strict one. Like, that's her. And then like all the younger ones are like the siblings or like the children. Like, it takes a village to raise all these damn kids. And like for a long time, like Meow Nam was like everybody's surrogate child that they were just like take, because like Meow Nam was not part of that community. She became a part of that community because she bonded with Juan's dad, and Juan's dad introduced her to the community. And because he was a highly regarded community member, he's like, trust her, she's great, take my word for it, because that's how communities work. And then they're like, okay, we'll give her a shot. And then Miana improved herself and then became what Juan's dad was, which is a reliable member of that community. And like, you remove Meownam and like the community starts falling apart, right? Because she serves a role not just as like the child everybody loves, but she's becomes like the glue. Like, she connects a lot of people on a daily basis because she's like circulating with the
Mhm.
her delivery service, her fix it service. So it's really cute. I love it. And then like that also gives credit to why like Chompoo and Meownam have kind of a sibling relationship, because in the community, not just at work, but like in the community, they're like siblings, right?
Yeah.
That's why she's like, look at my nails, sister. And she's like, girl, I'm on the phone. Like, I gotta do work. Like, what are you doing? But like, they act like siblings because like that's what they are, like in their little found family element. So it's great. It's great that like there kind of are like roles kind of unofficially assigned to people and they function like a family, which is to say they are dysfunctional at times because families are like that. So I like that.
It was really just great to watch.
Yeah, it's very fun. It was very fun and very complex. So I thought that was good storytelling and very fun. And speaking of good storytelling, let's talk about the social commentary of the show, because that was my favorite part of the whole show and it was so on point. awards for this. Is great. So the main thing we see with Wan is the main character and the catalyst for all of this is the concept of like individualism. So as Americans, we know all about this, the hyper individualism, like you don't need anybody, you can make it on your own kind of thing. And that's depicted with like city life, like living in the big city, and the rise and grind of that, which is also capitalism, which is where capital is king, money is king, versus community life, which is more collaborative and built on collectivism. And that's really the village element where Juan's dad is and the found family is, right? And I think that they talk about that a lot, and it's very overt in a lot of conversations. Like, but I think they set it up in episode one really subtly, where you get this juxtaposition of these two worlds we're going to enter and what Wan is like in both of them. And you brought this up earlier, where like Wan doesn't even remember her roots of like being in the village, and I think the way the show begins shows us that really, really subtly and really well. So in the very first beginning, like the beginning, the sequence of the beginning, we have it cuts between Wan's morning and Meownam's morning. So Wan in the city, Meownam in the village. And it's just their morning routines. And so what's Meownam doing? Meownam is doing Meownam service. She's riding her bike around the village and she's running errands for her business. And while she's doing that, she interacts with everybody. She like drops off the donuts and the soy milk and has a conversation with the papa of the village. Then she like goes to drop off the rice at the food stall, and she talks to everybody and interacts with the people as she's doing her errands, right? And then when she's at the shop owner is like, "Here, I made you food as a thank you." And so she gets like a homemade breakfast from one of her customers. And she's like, "It's made with love. You get extra protein," like all that kind of stuff. So like that's Meownam's morning. It's very interactive. There's love behind it, labor of love kind of thing. That's Meownam's day. Okay, and then that cuts in between what Wan is doing. So Wan starts with her jogging around the city. She's got headphones on, she's in her own zone, and she's running past dozens of people. Okay, she doesn't interact with any of them. She's just running past a bunch of people like they're not even there. Then we see her enter her apartment complex. She already has like a little burrito or something in hand. So she grabs some kind of like ready made food, something that was quick and available as she's walking into her apartment. So she's like eating as she's like getting into the elevator. And then somebody else in the apartment complex tries to use the elevator. And she's like, "No, hold on, my friend's coming." And Juan gets annoyed because this is taking up her time. So she doesn't, without saying anything, exits the elevator, takes the stairs. Remember those scenes? And then Juan, once she's in her apartment, gets in the shower and like all of that, her entire morning, she didn't speak to one person. She like interacted, air quotes, with people, but never talked to them. She didn't know any of those people. She's like, "Those are just strangers. I'm just walking past them. I'm doing me. I'm focused on what I need. I don't have time for you and your friend. Like, I don't even have time to make food. Like, this is my morning." So it's like very different the way their days go. And if you've lived in a city and if you've bought into this hyper individualism thing, it seems like Juan's living a normal life. Like you're like, yeah, she's doing her best life. She's, rise and grind, hustle culture, that kind of stuff. But then when you take a step back and look at her life and really compare it to Meownam, like just based on these scenes, Juan's life seems pretty lonely,
That's
doesn't
true.
it?
Yeah, because I mean, like, there's no one there who's there to care about her.
Not even that. She's not engaging with other people. She's just
Yeah.
in her own zone. Like she's not like Meownam stops to be like, "Hey," and have a conversation with people and then like moves on. Like so taking all of that in the context of the social commentary, then her father calls her, like the next sequence, and she takes the shower, she's getting ready for work, she's trying to rush out the door. And then dad calls. And remember, that's the phone call where she's like, "Dad, I don't have time to talk to you." And he's like, "Don't worry, prioritize your work." And I brought up the irony of this because the irony of Juan engaging in this like rise and grind, like put yourself above others kind of thing is that Juan and her father are robbed of their time together to feed the beast of capitalism. That's basically what's happening because Juan's sacrificing her time to make money for the company she works for. And that also requires sacrificing her family time so that she ends up in this lonely existence where she's just get up, go to work, work out, eat food, get up, go to work. And it's just the cycle. It repeats itself over and over. That's all she's doing. And it's like that thing where like being a workaholic is equated with success in this kind of like job she's in where it's working for the employer has high standards, they demand so much of you, and she gets into conversations with her bosses, she's like, you email us on work weekends on our off time and expect us to get back to you, and it's like, that's capitalism, baby. And it's like if you don't engage with that, you're seen as like you're lazy for not working off the clock, like all this kind of stuff. So like Juan is like, I'm doing what I need to do to be successful, and that requires everything of my life, basically. That's what she's in. And like in when we meet her, that seems normal because that's the culture, right? Of capitalism. That seems normal. And her dad, who's not in that world with her, he's in the village. He's like, I understand that this is what you're going to have to make sacrifices to get what you think is success, which is this job, right? Making money in this job, right? Where she's not a business owner, somebody else is paying her and she has to pay her dues to get paid by the owner, right? And really, because that's what that is, like her dad accepts this and Juan accepts this as like the trade off is to be successful, they're going to have to sacrifice time together. And then when her father passes, Juan is left to really confront this. Um, the fact that like, and that was the whole scene with Meownam in the store where she's like, she comes back to the store, she's like, this is the only way I get to be with my dad now because I gave it up to be successful. And then later with the found family element, she comes to really like contrast what her life in the city is like to really what it could be living in the village like she was raised in. And that's why like at the end it seems weird that she's like, why is she trying to go to Japan, because like she's like, I missed parts of that life. I miss not having to like, I miss like leaving work at work where I don't have to come home and worry about how am I going to keep the lights on of the store? How am I going to restock this shit? Somebody else does that. I just like come in, do my job. Yeah, maybe I answer a few emails, but like overall, I get a constant paycheck and I don't have to worry about where the money's coming from for the most part. She's like, I kind of miss that. And I feel like I'm not using my linguistic skills that I perfected and like I'm kind of wasting that. So like she's like, maybe I should go back and see if that's what I want. But she ends up choosing the village because of all the benefits that come with like being in this community. Meownam aside, but like basically she's choosing rise and grind versus like being a community member kind of thing. And then we get into like the Mouse Mart whale store stuff. And this all happens in episode 1, which is amazing. So in episode 1, after she gets ready, has the phone call with the dad, she then goes to work, right? And then we get to she's just going to work. Like she's not focused on anything else. She's just trying to get in the office and get to this meeting, right? But like all these things are happening in the background that you can pick up on. And a lot of it is they do these shots to show us just how integrated Mouse Mart is in the big city. So like Juan on her way to work runs past a billboard advertising Mouse Mart. She doesn't notice it, but it's there. So subliminal messaging. And then she walks into the office. She's holding a coffee cup with Mouse Mart. You see other employees walk past with Mouse Mart bags. Then she gets into the room to go to the meeting. Her other colleague is holding like a ready food from Mouse Mart. And you just see how like grab and go stuff, cheap stuff is just part of being in that culture and nobody else bats an eye at that. Nobody thinks about the shop owners. They're just like Mouse Mart's right there, it's convenient and it's cheap. I don't have time for this. And you just see how like tempting that is and why people do it when they're constantly on the move like Juan is, right? Like do you relate to that, just being like, well, this is quick and easy and I don't have time, like the convenience factor like does weigh into like whether or not you're going to shop there sometimes, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like even like what's order ahead so I don't have to deal with people. There's a lot. It's that way of thinking and definitely seeing how integrated Mouse Mart is in this like sets up a good foundation for the rest of the show of like how big of a deal this is going to be.
But, like, when you're thinking about, like, getting groceries, you're not thinking about necessarily, but what about the shop owner where their stuff's a
Yeah.
little bit more expensive, but I can't get the convenience factor. They may not have the ready-made stuff. Their selection might not be as big. Like, do you consciously think about that every single time you shop?
No.
No, right? Same with Wan. Like, you could probably ask this woman, "Where's the closest local convenience store?" She'd have no idea. She'd be like, "Just go to Mouse Mart. It's right there." Because, like, this big corporate box chain thing is so normalized in this city, right? And we see that it's like it's really the convenience thing where Juan doesn't have time, it's easy, and like I said, she probably doesn't even notice there are no mom and pop shops around because Mouse Mart, because of their convenience factor, like because like capitalism demands that you have less personal time, like that makes more sense to shop to, right? And so it's like this thing that like you see like how the monopoly happens, right? Just very subtly, and Juan's living in it and doesn't notice. Again, but what forces her to notice it is living in someone else's shoes. So when she goes back and takes over the store, she is forced to reflect on the fact that like she was engaging in the behavior that is putting her dad's business like out of business basically. And her father losing his store he's had for 30 years because everybody is shopping at Mouse Mart, like that was the cost of convenience. Is that her father now doesn't have his store, is not going to have the store because people value convenience. So like when Mouse Mart opens, like to your point, all the shop owners are like, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Then they all do it because they're like, oh, but look at the stuff that's already and like look at all the selection and like they have a payment plan and I get discounts and like all the things that a big company can do that Juan can't do. And then she's like, I'm going to go out of business because of this. Like because it is very appealing to people because it's less money, they're struggling, but they're like, I need this now. And it's not the long term thinking of like, if we all shop here, Juan goes away, eventually they're going to put us all out of business.
That's something like I keep thinking about, like, what they were getting in the beginning was the food. So even the restaurant owner's son was eating ready-made
Correct.
food from Mouse Mart. So why were they not putting together that this is terrible for all of them? Because
Well,
not one of them could have lasted if Mouse Mart was there. Like Mouse Mart has the potential to get rid of all of them,
correct.
and I
That is
don't
what
know
will
why
happen. Yes.
they didn't think of that.
I'm right because again, it's the short term benefit. We're not thinking long term. We're thinking these are, again, this is people who are trying to make rent today. And if you're
Mhm.
trying to make rent today, it helps me to pay less now. So hence like all the shops being like, I'm just gonna buy stuff there because it saves me money now. They're not thinking it because like they don't have the luxury of longitudinal thinking to be like, well, if I keep struggling now, and it would take all of us to band together and not do this. But that's the seduction of the convenience thing and the cheap prices. And it's like Amazon, it's the Amazon model. It's like we're gonna undercut all of our competitors by being real cheap and they took losses for years because they knew their competitors could not do that. And so when their competitors died off and they had no competition, they're like, great, we're going to jack all our prices up because now you have no other option, shoppers. So they played the long game that way. And then everybody loses is the thing. And like, that's capitalism. It's the snake that's eating its own tail. Eventually it's going to eat itself because the goal is to just make more, 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 more. And that comes with getting rid of your competition and jacking up prices. And it's just, but this is real life though. In real life, when you're struggling, you're like, convenience, it's cheaper. I need money now. But you're right.
Yeah.
The reality is everybody is agents of their own destruction because by engaging in this, they're going to destroy their own businesses. That's the irony.
Yeah.
That's real life. That's how it works.
Not that it's like exactly the same, but a similar thing is happening with AI as well because a lot of people are using it and eventually it's going to grow so much that it's going to take over some jobs.
Yes. That's the goal. It's just like machines, industrialization. It's just the goal is they're like, oh, this helps me. It's like every time you use like chat gpt and stuff, you're helping them for free make their shit better, and eventually it's going to replace people's jobs and put their jobs, they're not going to have jobs anymore. That's the ultimate goal because capitalism, the goal is to make money, and if they can make money by getting rid of people and their salaries and health benefits, for an AI model, that's absolutely what's going to happen. So by us embracing AI, we're again agents of our own destruction. Yep, the humans don't learn. Like this is just it's very real what they're writing about. Okay. Then we get to episode 6 where Wan has this like dream about having dinner with her dad in the store, and she admits that part of the reason she avoided seeing and talking to him over the years, like after she moved out in college while dad was alive, was because she wasn't happy being a workaholic. And she didn't want to lie to him about it. She's like, I didn't know how to have this conversation with you where I had to pretend to be happy doing this rise and grind thing. And I didn't want to like not be successful and like be happy about it because like she was making all these sacrifices to do it. And she was just like, ugh. And so I get that too, like from her end to just be like, this is really shitty. And I understand this is what success looks like in the city, but I'm not happy doing it. And I don't know how to tell you that. I'm in too deep, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's see here. All right. And so that's kind of like the basis of that going around like Juan and her dad. And then, but like this concept really follows Juan the most. That's like her main plot point. And so then we get into like Juan's relationships with Manmuk and Meownam. So Manmuk breaks up with Juan because Juan relied on her, air quotes, too much when they were in college, which seemed insane. I didn't fully understand what the hell her problem was. But she was like, we researched papers together and then like I need to help you and like I'm not doing that. So like this like gives Juan PTSD when it comes to people, and she after this vows to never rely on anybody ever again because she's like, I was relying on you in a way. You told me that's why you broke up with me. So therefore I must be a self-sufficient individual or like I will have nobody in my life. So that like feeds into that like hyper individualism thing that's happening. And like I imagine Juan's doing that for like years, like from graduating college to like her career. And then she meets Meownam when she's an adult, right? And she's been doing the rise and grind individualistic thing for a really long time. And I think the significance of their relationship is that Juan lets Meownam help her. And she says in one of the episodes that it, quote, feels good to have someone's hand to hold when I'm tired. Because if you think about it, Juan's been like busy, go, like by herself. Like, yeah, she has Noey to like talk to, but like she's doing all this shit on her own. Like, no family, nobody supporting her. She's doing this on her own. And then here comes Meownam, and she's like, I'll fix the electricity. I'll install cameras for you. As Juan's trying to like run the business by herself, she realizes that it's like, it's better to have somebody to help her because then she's like less tired. She has somebody. And so, like, and again, that was the foundation of their relationship that we talked about, that help, give and take, helping each other thing. But like, if you think about it, Juan's been out of practice with that for like a really long time. And then when we get to like the whistle situation, the scarring whistle scene, I think part of the reason Juan freaks out so much is because she realizes that Meownam helping her was possibly harming Meownam by like giving up the PhD savings. And like I think that triggers all the shit that she went through with Monmouth, where she's like, I'm breaking up on you because you relied on me. And she's like, oh, like we're doing that again. So then she's like, I need to get it. Like, I need to cut ties with you. You need to do you. I need to do me because I was safer alone. You'll be safer alone. And so she starts pushing Meow and Em away. But ultimately, it doesn't work because Wan and Meownam were better off together than they were apart. And like again, that's the crux of this whole story. And I think that's really what solidifies in Wan's mind at the end, where she's like, should I go back to my translating job and give up the store? Should I keep struggling with the store? I think ultimately the lesson she learns is that as a community is stronger than the individual ever could be. You know, it's nice that when I'm tired, I have a hand to hold, like somebody's there to help me, versus like going back into like the translating job. She'd be doing that alone again. And I think really her choice was like, do I go back to hyper individualism and rise and grind for like the convenience of the paycheck that I'm going to get on a regular basis, or do I continue down this path that's makes me happier, even though personally, even though I'm struggling to do it, and it's things are constantly changing where she has to like constantly have new like business marketing tactics to survive against the giant that is mouse smart. But ultimately she makes that choice that like, I think this, I'm better off doing this, and even if I fail at it, I'll be happier doing it, kind of thing. So I like that message.
That's a really great point. I didn't fully think about that, and yeah, that trauma from that previous relationship really did a number on her, and she had to really work to get past that to be able to see. My dog is also very upset about it,
Obviously
like this trauma.
the trauma.
Um, yeah, to be able to see that people will want to be there for her and help her rise up. And it's just, yeah, again, they do a great job with all of this.
Yeah, really, really good. I like the message there.
And then going along like the social commentary things, like in episode 2, they address age discrimination in the workplace where when we were watching it, we were like, why do they keep like harping on like you I'm gonna be 30 soon, you won't be able to get a job, like that's just it made no sense.
It still doesn't make sense to me why 30 is the age. Like 60, like getting towards retirement. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't understand 30. You're still like a fairly young adult, medically speaking.
Okay. So, yes, I do agree with that. And in America, we have protections in place where you can't discriminate based on age. However, I was doing some research and in Thailand, they have age ranges on their job applications. Like job listings, like they're like this much level must be between the ages of like 25, 35, something like that, or like even younger. So like they really do discriminate based on your age, so it does make sense, and I like that they were addressing that here.
Why?
Because in their head, they're like, "Oh, they're younger, they know more about what's happening now," I guess. Again,
Got it.
I don't live
Yeah,
there, I don't know fully know everything. I This is research I did a couple weeks ago, so don't quote me on this either.
if
We
you
all
know
if
more
you
about this, let us know. I'm just curious why
Yes.
30 is like a concerning age range. I understand like older because of like healthcare and like cognitive decline concerns, and like if it's a physical job they're not as physically fit, but like in an office job, why is 30 concerning when you're like at a desk? That's what I'm
Because
asking about.
if you're not already established in a job, you will not be at that job very long, like even if you're able to get one, because by the time again, according to my research of like people just talking on the internet, if you get to I don't know if it's 35 or 45, but like once you reach that age, you are at a very high risk of just getting fired to be replaced by someone new who is younger and like fresh out of school and like again, like they think that just because they're younger, they are up to date with the knowledge more. And like they can't like you're not as worth
Yeah, but then
it.
it seems like if by that logic, then even if like, because they were like, Juan, you got to get back in there, but you're almost 30. But like, then even if you got back in there, you'd still be fired soon. So like, why would, what's the, like, what are they supposed to do
Yeah,
for money?
I
Like, it still doesn't make sense for her to
no,
like
it's a
be
big
pushed back
thing
in.
too.
I don't know.
You either have to again, I
I
think
What do
a
you
lot of people have
do?
to like start making their own businesses. And again, it just
That's
goes back to this.
crazy. That's
Yeah.
fucked. Oh, that's awful. I don't want a business now to have to do that when you're 40. Like, that's rough.
Yeah. So it's a huge thing, and I wish it didn't exist because like age ranges should
Yeah.
never exist on a job application. It should be based on qualifications.
But I mean, I do understand again, if it's like a physically demanding job, that I get because like a 60-year-old should not and cannot probably consistently lift like heavy shit over and over again the way like a 20-year-old can, you know.
Hmm.
That's a health hazard. Like that I get, but like sitting in an office, that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, yeah, that's fucked. Um it just yeah, that was shocking because it just seems very young.
Yeah, I again, it really is. And again, disclaimer, I do not know this from personal
Yeah,
experience. I
no,
can
not
only read
experts.
as much as I can on the internet. So feel free to correct me. Tell me that I'm fully wrong if you want. Like, if you have experience or like facts to back it up, tell me I'm wrong because I would like to learn more as well because I'm hoping this isn't the
Yeah,
case.
they didn't explain it in the show in great depth, it just came up multiple times. So, yeah, please do.
Yeah. And then in multiple shows we were watching, I forget what the other one was, but yeah, it's just that's what made me really look into it. But something else that, stuck out to me was in episode 4 during the Songkran, oh, I feel like I butchered that name, festival where the people were going around putting smearing powder on people's faces, and Wan stops them and was like, "Why did you?" Because they smear it on Meownam, and like they go to do it on Wan, and she's like, "No, there's a whole petition going around to stop this stuff because you're doing this without people's consent." And I love that they address like consent in general because like yeah, it doesn't matter in what sense it is. First of all, we get it like with the explicit assault that we see on Juan. But like here, this is in a whole different scenario where you don't really think this something so small like needs consent, but it really does. And because you never know what like smearing powder could do to someone, like it could get in their faces. Like tell them before you're gonna do it. Ask if they're okay with having it on their face. And I just love that they do address that this is something that's controversial, especially for their festival. And because I'm pretty sure like this is something that's going on. This is a real thing that they're trying to
Yeah, that's why they brought
get
it up. It's a
going.
real thing, yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad they brought that up for, like, to your point, for multiple reasons, and the fact that, like, this is a thing that's actually going on in Thailand, like, now. They're like, "Hey, maybe we should stop doing this." Like, again, the social commentary is a very modern story. It's a modern time, for when we're it's a contemporary, it's for, like, when we're filming it kinda thing. So, yeah,
Hmm.
I'm glad they brought that up. Another theme that they explored in the show was filial love. So, and they did this, which is strong in Asian cultures, period. But they did it from the point of view of the children. So it's the child's devotion towards the parent, and we got a lot of narratives and character arcs that really focused on this. And so if we start with Juan, because again, she loses her dad and then goes back to take over the store as a way to be close to her dad, but also as like out of duty, where she was like, "This was my dad's store. I don't want his dream to die," kind of thing. And there's one scene that I really love in episode 6 where Juan goes to make merit for her father with her father's quote friend that we have fan fiction about. And they have this conversation outside the temple where Juan explains why she was so hell bent on having a successful career. And it was that filial duty thing where she wanted to be successful so that she could provide for her dad because she saw how hard he worked and she wanted him to be able to rest and like basically like live off of what she could provide because she lived off of what he could provide for her most of her life because that's the parent's duty to the kid, and the goal is eventually the kid takes over to take care of the parent in their like winter years, etc. But then in this conversation, what's interesting is because we live in a capitalistic hellhole, and that was like the life she was living. Wan admits that along the journey, she lost the plot entirely and ended up fully sacrificing her precious time with her father, which is like the irony of like capitalism, right? And the whole thing of like, I'm going to leave our town to go to the big city to make it big and like come back and give you guys money. Like we see that in Queendom, right? But then it's like you're sacrificing all your time and you're not with them and you're not bonding with them as part of the sacrifice. And this conversation in particular with Juan and her dad's friend outside the temple is one of my favorite conversations in the whole series. And I like his insight into it too, as somebody who spent a lot more time with her father when she was gone. And he goes on to tell Juan, people who say money doesn't buy happiness are already rich. Because, like, he's pointing out the reality. He's like, we are not privilege. We are not the 1%. We are not royalty who just inherited generational wealth and can like open art studios and do whatever the fuck we want. He's like, we're not those people. We're the people living paycheck to paycheck. And those people have the luxury of being like, money is not important. It's like, yeah, because you don't have to worry about it because you fucking have it. And so you've won capitalism already. You're not playing the game anymore. Everybody else is stuck in the game being like, I just need to survive till the end of the month, beginning of the month to pay rent so I can play this game again next month. He's like, Juan, you didn't have the luxury to do any of those things. And he's basically saying, like, you did the best you could in your circumstances. And I like that they kind of point this out because everybody's circumstances is different. And unfortunately, we are living in a system and in this show where like money plays a huge factor in like your opportunities, what you can do, how you choose to shop, how you choose to live. All of those choices really stem down to money. Like, why did everybody go to Mouse Mart? Money. You know, we have conversations where like people would come into Juan's store and be like, "Why can't you give me the same price Mouse Mart can?" And she's like, "I'm not a box store. They can take the loss." Like, and they're like, "Well, I'm not shopping here then because I need money now. I don't care about you. I care about
Mhm.
me." And it seems callous, but it's like, yeah, that's how capitalism works. Capitalism doesn't have feelings. It's about money now, right? And so I like he has this conversation with her to be like, that was the price you had to pay basically because of money. Like you needed it. You needed the money so that your dad could take time off and be happy and like that kind of stuff and not rise and grind. Like he was doing his own version of rise and grinding, which was running the store. Like, and he's like, that's the world we live in. Like, it's not your fault. The system's fucked, basically, is what he was saying. It's a great conversation. I really love this conversation.
I really love the dad in general. Wish he didn't. Wasn't part of the body count. But you know, he had to be.
No, he had to be. He was a plot point. Like his
Yeah.
death changes want. Like it had to be him. All right. And then also like along this vein of like the filial love thing, like Chompoo and her mother also explore this kind of like the daughter's duty to their mother and vice versa. And so does Meownam and her mom. So I like that that's being explored on multiple fronts in multiple scenarios. And it was really great. I like the way they handled that because that's a common theme in like Thai girl love shows, and because it's part of the culture, it's very
Mhm.
ingrained. And so I like that it showed up on multiple fronts with like most of the main point of view characters. I would say. Okay, and then another theme I really loved in the show is the fact that they normalized having emotions and making mistakes because that's being human. Okay, we've talked about this on multiple like fronts already, but I want to bring up specifically in episode 5 when Wan finds out about Meownam's connection to Mousemart and the way Wan gets really upset and has humongous feelings about this and then shuts out Meownam. And fast forwarding, Meownam comes by at night to confront her directly about this. And Wan says she knows Meownam isn't a deceitful person, but, quote, still, anger is anger. It's like someone punching you and then saying sorry. It still hurts all the time. So it can't just go away instantly. I love that because yeah, she's like this news hurts me and I have these feelings and I understanding you had good intentions and stuff doesn't take away the fact that I hurt right now. I'm just hurting. I have to work through it kind of thing. And she's not like I don't blame you for the situation. I'm angry at the situation. And I
It's
love
so
that. I thought
healthy
that
that
was
she
such a good
realizes
line.
it.
Hmm?
Yeah, it's just so healthy that she realizes that, and that doesn't just, like, sit in those emotions and let it provoke her actions. She's just like, "I'm gonna feel like this. I will process it. I just need time."
Yeah. And that's real. That's a human thing and like that's okay. And I think I like that all the characters really in the series go through something similar where they have very big emotions or they make a mistake like Meownam not telling Wan about Mouse Mart when she had chances to. And either having those emotions or making a mistake causes friction with somebody else in the series. And to your point, the characters take time to process the situation, the emotion or the mistake they made. Then they come back to that person they wronged or had the emotions about and communicate with the other person to resolve it. And it's like, ideally, that's what we should all do. But it's hard to do that. Like, it takes a lot of A, emotional maturity, self reflection, and courage to go do that. And a lot of people don't or struggle with it. Like I get it. I'm guilty of that shit too. It's fucking hard to do that. So like I like that they show that over and over again that like there's a good outcome like when we act like adults and like have these conversations. And not only is it good, in the end everyone's better for it. Like the relationships get stronger. So it's not this whole like make or break thing. I made a mistake. We can never be the same again. Everything's over. It's like this show shows you that like not necessarily like not if you confront it, work through it together, it actually can make you better as a team, as a couple, whatever, as a family, you know?
Yeah, I think another reason, like, it's just so good that they show this is to show us how, like, you can get through things, and, like, because, like you said, we this isn't something that we do a lot as people. Like,
It's
this is
hard.
something that's very hard,
It's hard.
and so I think, like, just being able to see it and, like, see how other people handle it will it just gets that in people's mind, like, maybe it'll help them to, like, actually process things and go back to them in their own life. I just I always love how media, like, really impacts viewers, and I think this is a lot of the show, especially everything we've already talked about, but just like this, like how to handle relationships. I think they do a really good job with that.
Yeah, agreed. It's this isn't a show that's showing you how to get a relationship. Like I don't know, like Gap, blank. It was about like in Pluto. It's about like falling in love and getting the relationship, right? It's the chase. And then we'll kind of brush past the rest of it. It's the chase, right? It's not this show shows you how to have relationships with people, whether it's romantic, platonic, filial, friend wise, whatever. It's how to have a relationship. And that's less sexy and like dramatic sometimes, but like that's real. And it's a story that's not often told. And so I commend GMMTV. I don't know much about the book and how the book went down. So I'm just going to, from the show, I commend them for taking that narrative. They're really good at that shit. I commend them for doing that because what they showed through this series that I appreciate is real life, which is that having a relationship and maintaining them with other people, it's not always smooth. It's very messy. It's time consuming. It takes effort on both sides. But ultimately, the characters are stronger with those relationships because they're built on something and they're fortified through these conversations. And that's what makes them a community that's so tight knit where they have hands to hold when they're feeling sad or tired, like Juan said earlier. And I think overall for the story and in this theme, Juan was the perfect main character for this concept of like learning to quote, like be in community because it was new to her. And she was in it, but not really because she was a kid, then left as an adult, then comes back because Juan learns as the series progresses, like from like people who are the community to like being integrated into that community and like actively choosing it at the end. So I thought she was the great point person to like tell this story overall. Like it was very well done.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Anything else about that before we move on to another section? All right, so let's jump into our favorite cinematography slash production moments. So I'm gonna start with episode one. Episode one was phenomenal. But one of my favorite things is when is Meownam and Wan's like adult meet cute where Wan drops the umbrella and it has the flashlight and it like spotlights them in front of the store. Like I love that. It was so
It's
good.
perfect.
So perfect. So perfect. From episode
Yeah.
one, also, I also love. I'm in awe constantly. The first time I watched it too was the when Juan finds out about her dad, and then we get the transition from Juan hanging up the phone in the corporate building, running into an elevator, and then hard cuts immediately to her and running into the hospital through a door. I just love it. It's just like it's very seamless. She's like running to the left side of the frame, then you see her running through the right side in a different building, and she's still running. It was very smooth, and I just love that choice. It was very good.
Yeah, I'm really upset with myself for not noticing that before, but watching it's a perfect transition
So good.
into the scenes that and I'm pretty sure they didn't even need a crossfade for it,
No, they
so
didn't. It's
they
a hard cut.
connected
It's
that.
just she
Yeah,
runs, hard cut, boom. It's
and that's what makes
great.
it even better.
So good.
One of my favorite things, is in episode 5 where the girls are, yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah.
Where Tonnam and Chompoo are trying to help Meownam, like, trying to figure out what will happen if she tells Wan, what if she doesn't tell her about Mouse Mark.
Yeah.
And they're doing this, like, SWOT analysis because this is where their business brains go to help her. It's like their pros and cons list
Yes.
of, like, what would happen. And the actors actually have to control the camera, and we get behind the scenes footage of this, and it's just really cool to see how, like, they do the panning shot to each one, and they don't actually use that many of the shots that
No.
they filmed, but you just being able to watch the behind the scenes and seeing them, like, literally flipping the camera to the
Yeah.
next person, it was just really cool to get to see.
If you haven't seen the behind the scenes, do you want to explain what you're talking about? Like what they did?
Yeah, so, the shots are when it's focused on one person's face, the camera is sitting on this, like, little dolly that's sitting on the table, in the middle of the table that they are speaking around, and there's a little handle that they take, and they just, like, move it, and it
It,
turns to the next person very sharply, and
it
it
like
creates
spins. It
this.
spins
Yeah.
basically.
And it creates this like panning motion that's really quickly, and that's how you get like the blurred, and then it stops directly on the next person, and they just have to keep doing this while saying their
While
lines.
acting, yeah. So they had to
Yeah,
act
and
and then be like, "It's my turn to spin," and I have to stop it at the right but so they were, like, acting and directing at the same time when they were doing those shots, which is really cool.
yeah, and like just to get it like perfectly framed too, that's probably why they used too many of those shots, because
It's
some of
fucking
them probably
hard.
weren't usable, but like yeah, that's a lot to uh handle at one time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that was really cool.
another scene that I love is um well, for like production, is when Juan is extremely upset after finding out Meownam is the daughter. I love how like they say the daughter of Mouse Mark.
She's the heiress.
It's yeah. So Meownam's family owns Mouse Mark. And I talked about this in an episode that we covered in Pluto about how stairs are used to show like the power that a character has. And here they use the stairs. Juan is sitting at the bottom of the stairs, so she doesn't have a lot of power. Like she's very like she's low on the stairs, and that's how she is feeling. And so I loved like connecting that because again, if you don't watch our Pluto discussions, there's somebody on TikTok called Screenwriter Husband who does all these random things. It, like, stops the movies when he's watching with his wife and just like, "I'm gonna teach you about this." And so, like, one of the things with stairs and how if a character is, like, going up, they're, like, gaining power over one another character. If they're both going up, then they're on the same level. And, like, here, it's just, like, showing that she is so low and upset that she doesn't feel like she has any power left.
And they did multiple shots in whale store with the stairs where Juan is sitting at the bottom of the stairs and they did an over like they did this shot from like the very top of the stairs and you just look down and you see Juan sitting on the bottom of the stairs. So she looks even smaller than if you're just like on the same level with her. Like the screenshot you have here of her just sitting on the stairs. They did the
Mhm.
aerial shot where she looks even smaller. And it's usually when she's has bad news and is feeling down. So like that makes a lot of sense now that you point that out. And I always love those shots because I'm like, oh, this is a cool, like the way they framed it and like the lighting, but like, yeah, the meaning behind it really adds to Juan's despair and like feeling literally down in those moments when we're like looking down on her. Yeah,
I mean,
good
also,
choice.
the shot is just dark in general too, and she's very gloomy.
Yeah. We will point out though at this stage, because I'm sure there's people already commenting. Yes, there was a huge thing that went on with the actual director of this. We're just pointing out like things we liked from the show. This has nothing to do with the actual person that directed it, because there was some bullshit that went on with him being misogynistic towards the actors, and GMMTV fired the bitch, and we're glad for it, but we don't want to take away from like the people that lit the show and like the other people that worked on it and put all this together and the screenwriter. Like we appreciate what they did. Also, it's a huge shame the director fucking sucked as a human being. So fuck that guy. But we're glad GMMTV stood up for their actors. So before
Well
you write
said.
comments, we're aware. Fuck that guy.
Yeah,
That's our
that's a
stance.
good
Fuck that
point.
guy.
Yes. Well
Maybe
said, Theo.
instead of ages in the hiring process, be like, are you fucking misogynistic? I don't know, just the food for thought,
The
just for everyone.
misogynistic test.
Yeah, do a misogyny test. Yeah, just show the tweet and be like, agree, disagree. All right. Any other production things before we wrap this up with favorite scenes?
No, let's head on to the favorite scenes.
Okay, then we have to reiterate Wan quote fixing Meownam sign, because that was objectively the most fucking hilarious thing that happens in the show. It's when she duct tapes this fucking sign.
It's because she's, like, so confident in the way that she's
I
like, "Oh, I'll fix
know.
that for you." And
It's
then
so
we get the
funny.
next cut, and it's just duct tape. The sign's not even straight. I
No,
mean,
it's such a mess.
it can't be straight. But
No.
yeah, it's just
So
and
fucking
she's so
funny.
proud.
Ridiculous. What a ridiculous human. Yeah, just the reveal of it too was everything about that was fucking hilarious. Okay, love that. Then second, I have to point out Juan talking to the cat, because not only was all of those scenes objectively hilarious, but we have yet another character that Milk plays that talks to animals, like like doesn't just be like acknowledge, she has full on conversations with them about the like help me with my life animal, like all of these conversations were so fucking hilarious.
They were. But the scene where she's giving Sam, like, the check mark
The yes
versus the
no things,
X.
yeah.
Yeah, the yes, no. Um, I just wanna say the audacity of her to not trust Sam's picks
She's in
because, she's
denial.
like she kept I know she is, but, like, the cat kept picking the same thing. Obviously, the cat is right.
Yes, listen to the cat. No, that was all fucking hilarious. So okay, so now that we have a second character that Milk plays that talks to animals, the question now is, what is her animal sidekick in Girl Rules going to be? Like, who's Sasha talking to in Girl Rules? So leave that in the comments what you think. I
Oh,
personally, I'm personally hoping it's a bird that can talk back to her.
oh my
But I'm
god.
open to
First of all,
anything.
You would love that. What if it's an Asian Cole?
That doesn't
They would
talk.
get
It needs to, like, I want her
there
to
you
have an
go.
actual conversation where there's a dialogue.
Yeah, it would actually be very funny.
That's what I
But
mean.
you posed this question before to people online,
Of course I
and
have.
someone said a hamster, and for some reason that stuck in my head, and it just made me really laugh.
So,
So
let us
just
know,
some
who's
options.
Sasha talking to in girl roles? Leave it in the comments.
Why should it be like a snake?
I can see that character having a snake, like Britney Spears or some shit
Yeah.
with a giant boa.
There would definitely be a shot like that with the snake. Just
For acting, for modeling reasons, and then she, like,
yep.
talks to it. Yeah, like, I can see her doing that. Like, yeah, she has to model with some animal, and then it's just, like, be all stoic and shit, and then, like, later in the dressing room, she's, like, talking to it.
Yeah.
I can absolutely see
Like,
that in
just
girl roles.
steals the animal, and they're like, "Where is the animal that" like, the animal
It's in her
wrangler is
dressing
like
room.
yeah. They're like, "Did you check Sasha's room again?" Yeah.
It's canon until we get the show. But yeah, let us know. Leave it in the comments. Who's Sasha talking to? Okay, other scene I really love is in episode 3 that I thought was hilarious when Tonnam and Chompoo give Meownam dating advice. And their advice, they're collaborative. The two of them are on the same page. Their advice is step 1, touch her. Step 2, say I love you, but only in your mind. Don't say it out loud. And what was his advice? His advice is manifest it. Like, it was fucking hilarious the way they did the scene.
They're both ridiculous, and it's just like, "Is this how you got together?"
Right. Touch her, manifest it. But what's funny is that, like, it's hilarious, and then Myeonam does it. That leads us to the CCTV thing where she's doing the hearts, and then I love when it doesn't work. She's like, "I never should have listened to them," and it's like, yeah, you should not have listened to them. I mean, they've been in a relationship for 3 years, so like, but still, like, that was ridiculous and so fucking funny.
They've been in a relationship for 3 years. They forget what it's like to get somebody.
Exactly, exactly. They're in the relationship, not chasing the other person, but they're that was so fucking funny. That scene was hilarious.
Is
And
this what
then
they do every day? Like, they just, like, touch and
right.
then say, "I love you," but only in their
Manifest it.
mind?
Only in your mind, only in your mind. So funny. And then I also love the scene in episode 4 after Songkram, the festival, where they're all like they weren't planning on really doing this, and then so like Juan's like, "Oh, you're gonna catch a cold. Like, take a shower, change into warm clothes or like dry clothes or whatever. I'll dry your clothes." And then we get to the bathroom where she's trying to deliver the towel to to Meownam, and Meownam opens the door, and she's like in her bra, and then Wan freaks out, and she's like, "No, come shower. It's fine. You should also shower." And then Wan's like, "No, no, don't worry. I'm super healthy. It's fine." The way she panics and says all this shit was so fucking funny. I'll never be over it. It was hilarious.
Oh, I love her.
It's so funny. I'm
I love
super
her
healthy.
so
It's
much.
fine. I won't get sick. It would be funny if she did get sick, but she didn't. So maybe she's
Could you
right.
imagine?
Yes, I can.
Actually, I kinda wish we got that
I know.
because that just would have been,
It
like,
would have been funny.
pure yeah. One of my favorite scenes is in episode 7, which is Manyam's presentation for Wan,
Oh, it
and
was
the
cute.
presentation is strategies to make Wan's store a hit, but it's not, like, the actual strategies that make me laugh, and, like, that makes this scene my favorite. First of all, just to give, Love, like, her like, she did a great job
So
of
good.
having to act in front of a green screen, uh, and just, like, talk to the camera. Great job. But my favorite part is that they mimicked the MGM Studios
Yes.
logo for the ending of this presentation,
So
and
funny.
then I looked at the actual one again, and I'm like, "They did a very, very good job at recreating it."
They
Like,
did.
it's perfect. It's just she's not roaring, she's giving finger guns, and
Yeah.
it just
It's
it
so
made me
funny.
laugh so much, and it will always make me laugh
It was hilarious.
because it's something so this is random a little bit. I making cards growing up for people, I would always recreate the backs of Hallmark cards, so I'd put a barcode on there, draw the logo, and write home so it's just it made me think of that. of, like, how she's like, "It is official. I'm going to put this studio logo on it. It was officially produced."
So cute. I love that. It's really fast. If you didn't catch it, go back. It's so funny. All right. And then lastly, my other favorite scene I want to end with is in episode 9 when Tick finally learns about Tonnam and Chompoo's relationship. Like this was long overdue, okay? But the lead up to this is really funny. So like Chompoo and Tonnam are like, fuck it, we're gonna be out at work. And they basically decide to go have breakfast on campus together. And they're really cute where they're both like, "Oh, I've always wanted to do this with you where it was just us and not in a group." And they're all so excited and they sit down to go eat. And 3 seconds into it, Tick shows up and sits down with them. She's like, "Hey guys, like I see you're here, blah blah blah." So I love that it's just like right after saying that, they're like, "Yay, we can be alone." And then like Tick shows up. and then
Yeah.
and then they're like, they explain, they're like, "Oh, we're dating." And I just love that Tick's like, "So that's what all," she's like, "All your fighting was fake?" Because it was 3 years of them fighting anytime somebody was in a room over stupid shit like you never clean your eraser board. And she's like, "That
I
was
love that she
fake."
put that together so quickly and wasn't like, "How are you together if you hate each other?"
Oh my god. Well, she like throughout the show, she makes comments where she's like, "They're always fighting. Like they're always fighting." She's like, "That was fake." It was so fucking funny. That
I
was
had to
great.
endure the fighting for nothing.
Right. It was hilarious. I just love them finally telling Tick. It was just so funny.
I kinda wish Tick knew the whole time, though.
Me too. She's like, "Yeah, you guys are not subtle." But they did make a lot of points with, like, the snacks that Tick would eat compare and, like, when they go to the she's like, "Let's go out to eat, celebrate end of semester." The food she picks, they're being like, "Wow, you're old fashioned." Like, they did make it a point very subtly to be like, "She's of a different generation than them." So, like, it's
Mhm.
plausible she didn't catch their
Yeah.
gayness on display because like, different generation, but, like, oh my god, it was very funny.
Yeah.
Alright. Anything else to say about Whale Store before we move on to our listener comments?
It was a great watch. It's really all you can say is, like, it's rewatchable, it's
Yes.
great for anybody to watch, like, it's very relatable.
It's a really good
Just
story. Solid story, great acting, good production. I would say it was one of the best girl loves of the year. Like, it was just very well done. Like, you can't compete with GMMTV, you really can't. Like, there's just everything about it was very good. Everything. It was
GMMTV
paced
is just
nicely. There weren't plot holes other than the side bitches. That was the one crime in my
yeah,
mind.
side bitches. The dad and his lover, that was definitely his lover,
Yeah.
that fan
Also
fiction,
crime
yeah, there was
in
so
our
much
mind.
potential there
There's potential. They didn't go
that we
there. It's
created
fine.
ourselves,
We
but,
definitely did.
fine.
We're of the conspiracy. But yeah, no, solid show, very well done. Okay. Let's start with Patreon. So we'll go start with Leona, who wrote, "I really enjoyed the show because it was beautifully shot, and the story was romantic." Yes. It was romantic without like being only focused on romance, which I enjoyed. Thought it was great.
Yeah. Cassie M says, "My main draw for Whale Store, apart from seeing milklove again, of course, was the reality of the situation. Juan tried to keep her dad's small shop afloat after his passing and get to know or reconnect with the neighborhood. And she had to trust people. Read Meownam again after being burned by her first love. The stakes were lower than in other shows, but relatable. The short length is a main minus point. Many secondary or tertiary storylines just got dropped at some point or never fully realized, which is fair. I just the side bitches.
Yeah, the side bitches. But like, yeah, they had 10 episodes. I'm willing to
Yeah.
forgive that.
All right, Bakasi continues. But at least we got Wan coming to terms with her father's death and finding a partner in Meownam, who in turn dealt with her problematic childhood and her mother who wanted her to become a perfect girl when all she wanted was to be loved by her. And then continues, Tonnam and Chum were also fine, highlighting some of the problems of a partially secret relationship. While I like 23.5 for personal reasons, I'm not mad that I spent 10 Wednesdays watching Wan and her, uh,
Little store.
yeah, little store in Fukao
Cacao.
Tong?
Tong, yeah.
Fukao.
Yeah, that's the village that they're in. Yeah. No, it was really good. It was a really good story. It was a really good story overall. Like, it was definitely different from 23.5, and, like, I mean, who doesn't love Heartstopper? So, like, understanding why you would like that more and connect with that more is super valid. Yeah. Loved it. Thought it was great. Okay, Melissa writes, apart from the obviously good chemistry and overall cuteness, what made me love it so much was the community aspect of it all. Yes. Juan kept others' needs in mind while also choosing what was good for her, and I love that. I would really love an ensemble show with all the shop owners and their quirks. GMMTV, listening? Also, Chompoo's mom not knowing how to act around her daughter instead of being the typical mean homophobic parent felt so real. Yeah, where's the spinoff of the shop owners? Like, honestly, they're all so
I
good.
Yeah, soon as
Where is
reading
it?
this, I'm like, "Well, that would be really
That would
good."
be
And just
so
focus
fun.
on the lives of the community owners, like,
Yes.
the shop owners. That'd
Yeah,
be great.
yeah. That was thanks for sharing, Melissa. That was good. And Cassie M and Leona.
And then the next
And
the
the next
next
one.
one is from Pooja, who starts, "13 reasons we love Whale Store. 13 is bonus, LOL.
I wonder why you picked
Number 1.
13, Pooja.
Number 1, Sam, the cat. Number 2, Sam, the salon owner."
Yes.
Sorry, it made me laugh because I got a notification on my phone when this comment came in. It just looked like all 13 reasons were gonna be Sam the cat, which,
Oh, Caitlin.
that cat was hilarious.
Cat was
Anyway,
hilarious.
3, 'cause Meownam and Wan are super cute and they talk.
Yes.
4, Meownam's flirting skills. Number
Yes.
5, Meownam's fighting skills. 6, Meownam's patience.
Yes.
7, Meownam's service to the society and Wan.
All 13 reasons could have been Meow Nam, really.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from this. Number 8, Wan is adult Angsa, and we all love Angsa.
Correct.
Yes. Number 9, that whistle scene. I may have shed a tear or two. Only 2 at most? What?
Oh,
Anyway.
that hurt.
10, the cursed whale whistle.
The whistle
The cursed
itself. Bad omen.
Oh, we had a conversation about how Fuja was like, "Oh, they should not sell," and then I'm like, "Fuja, they're selling it," because it was before
That's
that was
fucked.
released.
That's fucked.
Yeah. Number 11, the side bitches and their quest for love.
Yes.
Mhm. Number 12, the side bitches and their love for Juan. We get it, but now would be a good time for kiss and makeup.
Yes. Preaching to the choir.
And ready? Number 13, Taylor reference. Fearless, almost all songs, and timeless, from the vault, at least from
Mm,
Yeonnam's point of view. And poor Juan
yes.
went through all the eras within a year.
She really did. Like, god damn it. That hurt. Ooh, you are so
Yeah.
correct. Ah, this was Juan's era tour. Thank you. Thank you for the Taylor Swift references and the 13 reasons. Can't imagine
Pooja.
why you picked 13.
Pooja just made me realize I forgot about that section.
Ah, that's
Mm.
okay. You can just go with Pooja's answers.
Yay, Pooja. Pooja's the lifeline for me. Anyway, Pooja ends. That's all. I think I would have loved to see more of other characters, so the episodes felt relatively short. Regardless, it was a good show. Loved it.
Honestly, yes to all of that. That basically sums up our episode. We could have just gone with your list and that would have been the whole episode. All right. Then we're going to move over to White Cat, who always comes in clutch with amazing commentary. First of all, I love you for that. So White Cat writes, "The cat!" with 3 exclamation points, which, yeah, the fucking cat's amazing. And then continues, "This show did a great job making me invested in almost all the characters. Who weren't you invested in? I'm curious. Leave that in the comments." I'm just curious. Who were you not invested in? For
That's a
anybody.
good question.
No, seriously.
Yeah.
I thought I agree. I agree that The characters were investable, but who were you not invested in? Just leave it in the comments.
Mhm. All right. So our last one from Patreon is from Zori M, and they said this show is like an adult version of Puppy Love, and I love that.
I
That's
know.
true.
Yeah, it is. They were just very sweet and cute. Well, everybody was cute except Mouse Mart. Fuck that place. Okay. Well, thank you, Patreon. Next, we'll move over to Instagram, where we got a comment from NerdLife0789, who writes, "Milk love. Need I say more?" It's always good to see them on screen. They always got quality shows. I'm glad they're still getting things. So yeah, that is a reason to love Whale Store.
It definitely is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So heading from Instagram over to YouTube, our first comment is from Little Boots 7629. And this is another list of things. So just gonna go down it. No fancy cars.
Yes.
No claw nails. That's
Yes.
that's been in a lot of our especially Patreon comments about nails in general.
What are we
Love
doing?
it.
The safety hazard.
No ridiculous miscommunication. And then the next reason is communication. So yes.
Yes.
Maturity growth, partnership. Parents are actually redeemable.
Yes. I affirm that
Yes.
shit. Yes. Correct.
Rich girl works multiple jobs.
Yes.
Small community. Store owners.
Where is
Yes,
their show?
they are.
Where's
Yeah,
their show?
seriously. Very lovable.
Love them all.
Shows the effects of megastores in mom and pop stores areas. Yes, that is the biggest thing because we do not see that unless we are directly affected. Uh, number 12 is bike riding. Love it.
Who doesn't love that?
Fixing broken things. Second love stories as important as the main love story. Yeah,
Yes.
that was a
Side
big
bitches
thing.
represent.
Yeah, the side bitches got a good amount of time
They had
as
an
well.
amazing story.
Yeah. Number 15 is the love story. And last but not least, number 16 is the cat.
I think that's the most voted thing is the cat.
That was the quickest thing to come in was the cat.
I love that. I will say, going back to the bike, one thing that I do love is the consistency with the two-wheeled vehicles that Love is constantly on. So I love that the bike in Whale Store and the motorbike in 23.5, they're both the same color yellow. So I do love that they constantly have her on like sunny devices when she's riding. So I do love that.
Yeah.
All right. And then our last comment from you, our last comment period, and our last comment from YouTube is from Crimson Studios, who writes, "Personally, I love any story that focuses on community, even slightly. That's why I love Tamako Market. Whale Store gave the same exact vibe, but gay. Love that. I also love how supportive Meownam and Wan are with each other. I love the coming out plot line of Tonnam and Chompoo, and I love how it resolved. Absolutely. We talked for literal hours about it. It was subtle and didn't last long, and I think it could have held more time to breathe, but I really enjoyed how Meownam's mom is really just a reflection of Meownam. Yes, she's what Meownam could become if she kept the way she was acting. I think these two are more similar than they would like to admit. If you don't get what I mean, Meownam and her mom love language. Their love language is basically acts of service. They like to take care of their partners. Ooh, good catch. Yes. Myeonam's dad was an ass and cheated on her. Yeah, he deserves to be in jail, like misogyny jail. You're correct. And blamed it on how she made him feel useless. Oh, look what you made me do. There's your Taylor Swift song. So Meownam's mom was hurt in the process. So when she saw Meownam basically making the same mistake as her, she tried to butt in between Meownam and Wan. And I think she did the right thing because what made Wan set her boundaries, it's what made Wan set her boundaries with Meownam. And all the things she wanted Meownam to do was ultimately because she didn't want her to rely on no one and never get hurt like she was. I don't know. I really liked it. Listen, I agree with you. So much on that. I think her mom was. I agree that I think it would have been nice to have more time with Meownam's story. Like pacing wise, that one did feel more rushed than like Wan's
Mhm.
story because Wan's the main character, and Wan and Meownam's plotline versus Meownam's own independent plotline. I agree with that. I wish she got more time, but I think it got sacrificed. Blame the director we all hate. Who knows? Maybe it's his fault. The listener continues. I would love it if we explored Monmouth and Noey more. Yeah, and their relationship. Yes, just in general, but with Wan. And I think this wasn't fleshed out enough, but it did present great ideas that could have been expanded on. Yeah, side bitches. Yes. Also, the show is very cozy and rewatchable. It's not heavy like other girl loves. That's true. This is kind of like if like there's like a whole genre called cozy fantasy, which is like low stakes reading where like people run coffee shops and shit. And like yeah, it felt like that. I'm with you on that. It's like it's low stakes, but then it's not because like the stake is like Wan losing her income forever. Like that's a very real stake, but it feels low stake. Like it doesn't feel as
Mhm.
overly hyper dramatic as like other shows. And then this listener continues, oh, I also love the parts about Juan's dad, sad face emoji, and her dad's quote, friend. It was so sweet. Yes, you're on the conspiracy with us. They were shopmates. Like, come on.
He was always in Juan's life.
He was always having dinner with her dad.
Yeah, like,
Always.
it was there.
He was the saddest one when he passed away. I'm just
Mhm.
planting the seed. I'm of the conspiracy. Don't take my dreams away from me. All right. Well, thank you everybody for writing in and telling us why you loved Whale Store. If you didn't have a chance to participate, please let us know in the comments. Why did you love this show? We would love to hear from you. Thank you guys for sharing. We did some stuff we didn't even cover, so we appreciate that. All right, and now we're gonna wrap up this episode with some Taylor Swift songs. So I have a few. I think obviously, and was missing from Pooja's was Marjorie. I think that's very much about Juan and her father's passing. Because in the song, it's like, my grandmother died. I wish I had more time with her. I wish I kept the grocery store receipts, the thing you wrote down. Like, that's Juan and her father's passing, where she wanted to be close with him. She wished she had more time, but she keeps him alive by running the store and becoming part of his community. So I think Marjorie is a good song for Juan and that plotline.
It's the perfect song, Theora, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, "Damn, Thee! Can't believe I forgot about that song."
It's a very good song.
It's
And
so
then for the side bitches, go listen to Long Story Short. That's the sides. I'm the side bitches. That's Noe and Monmook. Like those two. Long story short, just kiss, basically. Just kiss.
good.
Just kiss. Long story short, just like kiss. That's all I got.
I also feel like just love her in general for Meownam and Wan.
What about Chompoo and Tonnam? That's also them.
Oh yeah.
I
No,
take
just
this
like
magnetic
everybody.
force, i.e., that works for either of them to be my lover. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's them explaining it to the mom. Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, if you made it this far in the episode, we want to know. I kind of forget what the second question Theora gave you was. Oh, no, I remember now, I think. All right. So we have two questions for you to answer in the comments. So the first one is, how did Tonnam and Chompoo make it 3 years without anybody finding out that they were dating?
Seriously.
And two, what is Sasha's animal going to be in Girl Rules?
Yes. Leave it in the comments.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll be back to discussing Pluto next week. So if you haven't joined that journey, come check out what our scene by scene breakdowns are like. They're more intense than these. And since a lot of shows are currently wrapping up, we will be doing more of these for like Only You, Queendom, etc. So be on the lookout for those. So if you want to participate in advance and tell us why you love the show and get a shout out, like in this episode, follow us on social media so you guys can engage with us there and be part of the episode. And until next time, hydrate for lesbian Jesus.
And gate up all over the place.
Bye.
Bye.
And And with that, we've been Big Gay Energy. If you like this episode, check out all our other episodes right here on YouTube.
Please like, leave a comment below, and subscribe for more amazing super gay content.